Hello. Hello? Okay. Hi. Yes. Yes. Where is the broadcast? On which page I should go? Okay. Okay. And then I will just go on the chat and I will mute it, right? Okay. So from the broadcast, I will see all of the games, right? Okay. So I was. Yes, yes. Yes. I'm sorry, but I was traveling yesterday and I will be traveling to the Senior European Championship tomorrow. And I'm invited there, and this is a problem. I'm sorry. Yeah. I checked briefly, but not much. I mean, some of the part. I mean, there's a strong in the World Juniors. He beat him. Yeah.
That and now I just want to ensure that this works for 2 seconds, so that this works. I put it in the right way, like this. I think it is my technician who made this. It should know that is not correct. So let's.
I'm a bit big.
Better than that. You're a bit big. You're a bit big right now, but I will make you perfect. That is perfect, and I think your name is wrongly spelled as well. We'll see if I can make that better as well. I think it's an H here.
Yes,
like
and
that.
and the H is missing. Yes, after the E.
That is correct, huh? Thank you. Now we are on, like that. Okay, Jon, you had. Was there anything, or can we start?
Yeah, this is perfect. Wonderful.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. Then we go. So everyone, welcome everyone to the 6th round of Uppsala Young Champions 2022. And with me as a guest, I have Elisabeth Paehtz. Hello, Elisabeth.
Hi, Jesper.
I'm so happy that you could join in. Oh, It's okay. I'm so happy you could join in. You will stay for 45 minutes because you are just like Judith and the others that I try to invite. Everyone says, well, I have 20 minutes here, I have 45 minutes there. You are so busy, everyone. So before we start, could you tell me a little bit about yourself and your chess background and what you do?
I used to be like very professional in terms of chess playing. I've been professional for more than 20 years. And also I've been German's top ranked lady player since 2005. And since Corona, actually, I started to teach and also to produce a lot. So I would not consider myself 100% professional anymore. I'm still playing professional chess and I'm currently still involved in the Grand Prix Women's Series. But I think my future will be rather in teaching and producing and helping the young ones.
I see. So you have moved on to this with talent development and so, because it's mainly talent development that you work with, isn't it, Elisabeth?
Well, for now, I mean, like I'm in Germany, not yet involved in the talent development, but there is some plan next year that I will have some camps with our under 16-year-old girls. So I'm slowly, let's say, getting there. What I'm doing now is usually some webinars, but not for our talents, but for everybody who wants to join these webinars. So for Chess Sense, the Niklas Huschenbeck company, they produce some webinars. Plus, for ChessBase, I'm doing a weekly show in German language together with ChessBase moderator Arne Keller. I mean, such things I'm doing basically, yeah.
Yes, and you and I, we have done quite some stuff lately, and during this pandemic, you have been joining in for my different talent programs and so on, and I can tell you, both you and our viewers, that you are actually the favorite of my students. They say that we want Elisabeth to come and give her lessons because they like you the most. Just so you know.
That's nice.
I think I told you actually already. So I think it's a great choice to have you as a teacher as well. So, but okay, let's say like this, because I have had so far different people joining in, like Jon Christian Haar, also from Norway, Simen Agdestein, Judith Polgar. Everyone is now also working a little bit talent development. Could you tell me a little bit about Germany? How is talent development running? I actually had a German player here after the last round. And he told me a little bit about Germany and so on, but I would like to hear your thoughts about talent development in Germany, how it works, and is it the federation, is it clubs, or how does it work?
Well, for now, of course, we have our top player, Vincent Kamer, and I would still call him like a super talent because he's still young and obviously he still can grow, though our federation and also like the sponsor of Kränke is supporting him a lot so that he can manage to become one of the players in the top 10, and I think he has pretty good chances for that. And okay, if he puts Vincent aside because he's obviously the most famous player we have at the moment, we have a new program. It's called the Power Girls program, and there's also a sponsor involved who gives yearly, I think, something like 30,000 euros for 6 players, which means like each player gets like some support of 5,000 euros for trainings and teachings. And in this group currently are actually almost all my colleagues of the women's national team who are below 25. So it's almost 90% of the team. And yes, apart from that, we have some other programs for the younger ones, but not like with a kind of special sponsor. These are just like normal kind of training camps, and usually it's a state support or it's a club support. But for the federation, the biggest support for now is obviously like Vincent Kamer and also like the Power Girls program, which is some initiative guided by federation and also by the head of the professional sports committee, Grandmaster Gerald Hartnick, who actually found the sponsor for the Women's Power Girls program.
Sounds great. It sounds a little bit, you said that almost everyone beside of you is part of that program. It's under 25. So it's like you're on the first board for the national team, and then you have this youngster pushing behind you. Is that what you say?
So basically, like, I'm the team granny. I used to be the youngest one, like, for so many years, but now I'm by far the oldest one. And for example, like now in India, there was one girl who was not in the Power Girls program because she is about 25. It's Hannah Marie Clack. She's like 27 or 28. But that's why I mean, like, I think, like, even I suppose in the next few years, it will be entirely the girls from the Power Girls program, because they are professional now on chess. They're training a lot. So I guess this will be the team. And as long as I can more or less hold my rating and my abilities, I may stay the granny of the team. But yes, I actually hope that at some point they will all overcome me, and then actually, like, it would be the moment to retire, I guess.
I must say, I love that, to say that you are becoming the mother of German chess, you know, training them, take care of them, and showing them the way forward. I love that. So fantastic. So what about taking a look at the participants of this event? So you can see, and also you can comment if you know any players. I guess you know some of the German ones. Now, actually, you will disappear from the picture, but I think you can take that. I think you can follow. Is that correct now? You see the screen and so on. So
yes, I have some small delay, but I think it will be fine.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so we have now, this is the Uppsala Young Champions of 2022. We have at the top Francesco Zonis from Italy and Felix Bluberger from Austria. So maybe at least you know Bluberger a bit.
I know them by name, but
yeah.
I mean, honestly, like, I know all the names. I mean, Bluberger, of course, I know because he's Austrian, and Francesco Zonis, I paid attention because he beat one of our, like, second German's biggest talent, the young brother of Rasmus Swane, Frederick Swane, who did a huge climb up in the last 1.5 years. So, and he beat him in the World Junior, and this is like how Frederick missed the chance for the medal, which was a bit upsetting. But that's how I remember the name of Francesco Zonis. Bloberger, of course, yes, Austrian. And then if I check the list, obviously, like, I know Jakob Leon Paehtz because his father is a brilliant coach when it comes to tactic and dynamic interference. So I've been working with the dad of him. But for the son, well, I guess I saw him a couple of times, but yeah, the name
then
of
I tell you one thing. He was showing his game that he played in the round this morning. Fantastic. You need to take a look at that game. What a brilliant finish it was, with a fantastic sacrifice, queen sacrifice, and a lovely checkmate. So that is something you need to check.
I'm not surprised because his dad is doing these kind of coachings entirely on tactics and dynamics, and I really enjoyed the camps of his dad. And yeah, it would be surprising if Jakob didn't inherit some of this kind of tactic dynamic wishes.
Yes, I see. Okay, but still you can see that, of course, we have the majority of Swedish players, you know, that we give the chance, but we try now to be the best junior tournament under 20 beside the championships. So we are trying to take it step by step and growing. And well, you see, will you see what we could offer this year? So that's it. Okay, should we go? Because I would like to hear you giving, of course, your opinions on the games. So let's go to the games. And first I want to check, 2 seconds, I want to check here if I have, here I have like this. I have on the top board, we see Francesco Zonis against Platon Galperin. I don't know if you know anything about Galperin, but he's one of the highest rated players, international master 2513. And What do you see on the board, Elisabeth, so far?
I think it's some kind of Catalan variation with.
I could take from the beginning because we don't have many moves. It started with knight f3, d5, g3, knight f6, bishop g2, e6, castle, bishop e7, d4, castle, c4, and now, okay, knight bd7, that was played, queen c2 and a5. That is how we came into this position. For me, at least, a5 looks a little bit odd. No, not bad, but a little bit odd for me. But maybe you have a better view on it.
Well, actually, like there is, I mean, for example, like if not a5, but let's assume something like c6, knight e2, then this a5 move actually happens a lot, but usually I saw a5 only with bishop b4 check, bishop d2, bishop e7. But since white delayed d4 and c4, this variation was obviously not possible. And honestly, I haven't seen this kind of setup in this order beforehand. But sometimes when you bring the queen too early on c2, it's interesting also to play with c5 instead of c6. This is another option. But here the move a5, honestly, I don't know why I need it. Probably like Black knows why he needs it.
Yeah, okay. So a little bit like the same feeling that I had, that this is, you know, because for me it doesn't really fit in. Like you say, if you want to play c5, this is not a good move to have made.
Yes.
And yeah, well, normally it's like you say, done in connection with bishop b4 check or something like that.
Yes, bishop b4 check, bishop d2, and then a5 to protect the bishop. This would make sense. And also in the lines with c6, a5, there is such a setup, to be honest, but maybe not in this move order. I haven't seen it.
Okay, let's go to the other games because for sure this will be a long strategic game, because that is what happened with Francesco Soni's game so far. He has taken quite slowly, step by step, outplaying his opponents. He hasn't put too much pressure in the opening so far, but when it comes to the middle games, and not the least a combination of tactics and strategic ideas, he has been on top for most of the games. So, okay, let's go to the second one. And that is the other Grandmaster. It's Felix Bloberger, that is black, and Kaan Kukushari from Sweden, originally from Turkey, but one of those young Swedish players that we have great hopes in, because he has just made a jump of almost 80 ELO points during the pandemic, of course. You know, he's one of those who have been training hard, and you know, you cannot judge him from his rating, but actually it's all about what you have done at home. So what about this position that you see?
It's, I think it was a Slav with bishop f5, knight h4, bishop e4, f3, bishop g6, and then this queen b3, queen b6. It's also like possible here to play with queen c7, if I'm not mistaken, queen b6. However, I think I saw it even at some point in a game of Hare Krishna in the Czech Republic Super Tournament this year. He beat Makasudlu, and it could be almost, I think, the same line, but looking very similar.
And the key question normally is if you should play c5 or not in this type of positions, because like if you play like c5, then if you change here, there will be like a pawn push to b5. That if this is possible to do, normally it's okay for white, I guess, or you know, white can have an advantage. So this is something to try to avoid. But I guess that after c5, black will play queen c7, or what do you think?
Queen c7. I mean, I don't like c5 because usually they only play c5 if they are sure that they can block the e5 push with f4. But here it looks quite premature to play c5, queen c7. And for example, now f4 looks dangerous, because maybe I can even play g5, and if you take on g5, knight g4, and since there's no bishop d2 and the king is not able to castle, I think you should not do such things with b6 is, by the way, also possible, but I just like checked g5 because I like the dynamic approach, but b6 is more than fine as well.
Yeah, you realize that I'm the boring type of player, and I try to play the safe moves. So
yes, I'm the exciting. I mean, I like these kind of positions.
No, okay, so this is not a good idea. And I mean, normally if you play c5, queen c7, there should be a bishop f4 possibility to go for the b7 pawn.
I saw this, but also you should be able to answer after b6, b4, and you cannot. So I mean, like, that's why the move c5, in my opinion, it would be a positional error.
Yeah, I agree. So bishop d3 was played instead. I guess that's a normal move, and then knight bd7 like this.
Yes.
And we have a bit of a strategic battle. We have the pair of bishops for white, but black has got this very solid structure with the pawns on the right color if you compare it with the bishop on f8. So yeah, what do you think? It's still the opening. I always also look at the time because then you can get a hint of if they are inside the preparations or not. And it's quite obvious that black is, Felix Bluberger is still in his preparation. Khan has spent 10 minutes beside these 30 seconds that you get extra for each move. That means that he might be out of his preparation, but normally I guess that it should be more or less what he had looked at.
Yes, I think queen c7 is more common than queen b6, but queen b6 had been played. I mean, I'm almost sure it was this move order in Hari Krishna's game. So, I mean, I think what you want with black is, okay, at some point you exchange the queens. Ideally, you exchange one pair of bishop, because when you play against the bishop pair, it's always good to cut the bishop pair to have less dynamics. And for white, sometimes ideas could be, here you have two. Something like g4, h4 could be interesting at some point, and then to play like h5, g takes h5 and g5 and like win somehow the h file. And the other main idea is to push e4 at some point. But both ideas have to be considered very carefully, because once you push e4, then you have to be afraid. I mean, or at least not afraid is the wrong word, but maybe black can take on e4, and then black can push e5, and this way like conquer the square on c5 or the black squares. Such things, of course, are also typical for the Slav structure.
I just made some move, but that is the basic idea, is that if you push like this, you will have nice black squares to go for. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, like usually after e4, the reaction is that you take and then you play e5. These are kind of typical reactions, despite the fact that now it doesn't work because of the hanging d4 pawn. But that's how black usually would handle it, and then try to play on the black squares.
I agree. So, okay, let's see what more we have in our sleeves. We have one, for me, very interesting battle, and that is this battle. And because maybe you know that we have this new talent program. It is from Magnus Carlsen's club Offerspill. I mean, you worked with me on this Flere mot Schacktoppen, the Norwegian Federation, but now we are into this chess club. We have invited the top talents of the Nordic countries to join in, and we have here Vignir Vatnar Stefansson from Iceland, the biggest talents of Iceland. But then we also have this Elham Abdrlauf from Norway, that is a young, also extremely talented young player that is on the rise. He is above 2.5 now, and he's going fast. So,
and how old is he?
I think he's born 2005, if I remember correctly. So he's 17
that's good.
Now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really strong, and you know, just like, you know, when you meet him and you analyze with him, you know, he's thinking of chess all the time, playing all the time. just like Vignir now. So they are so ambitious, and it's lovely to deal with them because they are so ambitious, both of them. So here we had this. I don't know if you know them or if you have ever met them. Or
no, to be honest, not. I mean, I usually know the national players, and I think for Elham and I mean for Stefansson, he could have been already in the Icelandic national team because I think they are not so strong like the Norwegians. But I think for Elham, he might not have been in India because it's too early.
No, it's a little bit too early. It's only, like you said, he's actually at this MTG that Simon Agdestein is running, this school.
Yes.
He's a student at this one. And he still have to wait a little bit until he can challenge the best ones in Norway and the national team, but he's not far behind. And we are all expecting him to be Grandmaster quite soon. So it's very interesting to follow his journey. So we had this very interesting opening, I believe. We had D5 coming, and I don't know if you know their style, but especially Elham Abdrlauf is very tactically strong. He's fantastic with the initiative and so on. While I would say that so far, what I've seen from Vignir Stefansson is more like a positional player. He's very, very good,
He's
building
up. Yes, probably like because I see the opening, Tiv Jakov must be his role model because Tiv Jakov, first of all, loves the Scandinavian with Queen D6, and second of all, he's an extremely good positional player.
Yeah. So what do you think about this variant, to play with the queen on d6? What is the setup you normally use?
I played some games with Queen D6 because I had some training sessions with Sergey. We are very good friends, and he was giving me some insights on the Queen D6 stuff. And objectively speaking, it's not such a bad line. I mean, of course, you have to know the critical variations not to get under the wheels. But yeah, in general, for example, like to give like some example here in this position, you can make some subtlety with not playing knight f6, but to first play c6, for example. And then after c6, the critical part is that white would play knight f3, not knight f6. Instead of knight f6, to play c6 and to skip knight f6 for a moment. I don't remember why, but you prevent some lines. And after knight f3, bishop g4.
Yeah, and I'm making then the moves as we go. Yeah.
Yes, and then I think here the critical part is, and not many people know that after bishop g4 you can play h3, and if you take on f3, queen f3, and you take on d4, then there's a super strong move like bishop f4, not bishop e3, and this seems to be one of the critical lines. I mean, he told me such subtleties about this opening, but I forgot most of it. But I remember more or less this. And here, bishop f4. I mean, bishop e3 is a blitz move, but bishop f4 is critical somehow. If I'm not mistaken, that such subtleties he was teaching me. And because c6 is a nice idea to prevent some kind of crazy stuff as this knight e5, knight c4 lines. But
I see that. I mean, even knight b5 is a threat here. Huh?
Yeah. So it's a rook d1, knight b5 is very dangerous, let's say. But it's not about bishop e3, but it's about bishop f4, if I'm not mistaken.
I see. Okay, very interesting because, as you know, I'm not playing any more myself. But when I play always with bishop c4, knight e2, and bishop f4. That was the line I was trying to show that queen d6 was not a good move.
Yes. Okay. Tiv Jakov said like that almost everything is fine for black, but like the main lines with I think it's c6, knight f3, knight f6, and then this knight e5, knight c4, queen f3 variant, if I'm not mistaken.
And that is what happened in our game as well. Knight f6, knight f3, c6, and knight e5.
E5, yes. And that's why, I think they play c6, and after knight f3, bishop g4. And then, of course, if white knows this h3 and the sacrifice, then it's a bit critical. Otherwise, it's a good way for black to trick a bit your opponent.
But I can say that I'm sure that that would be a perfect thing for Elham to go for, this sacrifice. So instead,
Yes.
knight e5, g6 came in this position, you know.
G6 is unusual. If I'm not mistaken, the main line is knight d7, knight c4, queen c7, and then
Do you mean
something...
in this position, knight c4?
No, not
After
g6.
G6.
Not g6. G6 is not the move here. The main move, I think, is knight d7, knight bd7, knight c4, queen c7, and queen f3, bishop f4, stuff like this. But g6 is a little bit unusual, let's say.
Yep. Okay. So g6. Then the question, he played bishop to c4. Quite interesting, actually.
That's principle, because, okay, I mean, with g6, then e6 looks a bit weird. So I would have also...
bishop e6.
Yeah. So actually, he knew what
E6.
he was doing.
Yeah, I guess so. But on the other hand, I you know, it looks strange in a way, of course, you know. But yes. But of course, you know, yeah, I mean, Vignir, I'm sure this is something he has prepared, bishop e6, because you don't play it so fast in bishop e6 if you, and g6 and so on if you haven't prepared it, you know. So castling, it looks normal to me. I don't know if you have any other ideas, but for me, castle here looks very normal.
Yeah.
So castle came, and then knight bd7. Okay. And now, yeah, because now you threaten to take on e5, take on d1 and c4, huh? So you need to react on that one.
Something like that, yeah.
But what about bishop f4 in this? Then you take on c4. That's important.
This is never working.
No. So he took on e6. I think that's logical.
This looks also good to me.
But now the question is, now he played knight f3. Okay. He simply went back like this.
Yes, but this somehow looks like if you play knight f3, then you're not like fighting for an advantage anymore.
No,
in my opinion.
Exactly. Exactly. That's why I was a bit surprised to see that. Normally, I mean, rook e1 or something like that looks more normal to me, but...
yeah, but even that probably doesn't give much for white anymore. I mean, by principle of this variation, like, you know, white has space advantage with a pawn on d4. So usually exchanging a lot of pieces would rather help black, and that's what happened. So maybe this bishop c4, as tempting as it may look, is not really helpful.
After g6, yeah.
Okay. Because actually with bishop e6 you solve like your problems in terms of space.
So maybe should you play more like bishop f4 instead of bishop c4 maybe then?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Maybe bishop f4 to try to course more. I mean, okay, the big question after bishop f4 is how bad is knight e5?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Knight d5, my idea was simply to take it. Because you cannot take with the queen because of bishop c4.
Yeah, this is clear that you have to take it with a pawn, but if I don't have knight f7, then by pawn structure, black is fine.
No, but if you play knight d5, knight take, pawn take, I can play bishop b5.
Bishop b5 check, yes, and this might be actually an issue. This I agree.
And then you can take some, you know, and then you threaten to, you have this knight take somewhere, and it must be very good for white.
Yeah, so knight d5 doesn't work, obviously. Yes, this looks too much.
Okay, so bishop f4 might have been a better move, but okay. Bishop c4, bishop e6, castle, knight bd7, take on e6, queen take 6. And okay, but let's say that you have made this small mistake. That I think one idea with knight f3 is, of course, if you play bishop to g7, you have this rook e1 and to put pressure on the e7 square. So at least there is some kind of idea behind, you know, with this.
No, I agree. White is not in trouble at all. I mean, still it's easier for white to play, but...
So game just continue, I mean, that like normal, you know. And here, black played queen d6.
Yes, that makes sense. to prevent bishop f4, because you like after bishop g7, maybe bishop f4 is annoying, and then you cannot get the queen back to the black squares.
Exactly, I agree. Maybe queen f5 is possible, something like that, and then castling, but still, maybe white can try to hunt the queen a little bit, but I think that's actually I think that's okay for black as well, I must say, but okay. Anyway, so queen d6, a4 came like this. Black answered a5 like that. Rook e1.
Yes.
And now he simply played e6 like that. E6.
Well, the problem is like he cannot play bishop g7, maybe because b3 and bishop a3 plan is very critical.
Ah, very nice. So bishop g7, we have a problem with b3, and we have the idea to put the bishop on a3 and go for the e7 pawn. That's a nice one, huh? So that's why he started to play e6. And the idea then is that if b3 doesn't make sense really, because then you can go back with your queen maybe simply.
To c7 or something, yes.
Yeah.
And then actually
Something
I'm even thinking to develop my bishop on the other diagonal, but this is unclear.
Yeah, I agree. So, okay, and queen e2 came, you know, logical move. Bishop g7, and now b3, of course.
Yes, trying to...
Yeah, well, I actually, in this position after queen e2, should you play queen c7 now instead? What do you think?
You mean queen c7 instead of...
Bishop g7?
Immediately, the question is, sometimes there could be some tricks with d5, but probably not here, or like even knight g5 and trying to sacrifice on e6. For example, if you play queen c7 here, maybe knight g5 can be annoying.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. But okay. Yeah, okay. So but if you put your bishop on where to put it? Okay, if you play bishop to g7, can you sacrifice then?
Well, I think yes, because I can take on f7 and then I play queen takes c6 and bishop... no, bishop a3 is not yet working. But even the prophylactical piece... Well, you have c5, but it's not so clear.
Okay, so this at least this could be a very interesting sacrifice situation after bishop g7, but unclear, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I would call it unclear, but I have to think deeper in that. It could be as well as very dangerous for, because you also have some move like d5 here, you know, which may make a difference because no. Before I take on e6, I want to play d5 perhaps. That could make a difference.
This move here, just to push, yeah.
Well, to play d5 instead of taking on e6 to have like d5, and then
I agree. This is too dangerous probably. So after bishop g7, b3, queen c7, bishop a3, black played bishop f8. But I think it starts to look a little bit, for me, a bit dangerous situation actually for black, right, already.
No.
What about, can you play d5?
Well, if you can't play, if you can play d5, then I agree with you. If you cannot do it, then I think it's fine. But even after d5, c takes d5, knight b5, queen b8, doesn't look too bad. Because the knights on d7, f6 hold what they need to hold.
No, my idea was to play like this, you know, knight b5, and then maybe even go back. But that's not clearer. Okay. No. So maybe it was too tough to play d4, d5. I don't know. But okay, so yeah. Okay. I don't know if there is anything else you could do here. So we'll see. This is the position, b3, queen c7, bishop a3, bishop f8. Okay, I know that you have little time. So if we just go and take a look at the other games, and you can tell me a little bit about what you think. We have here Simen Mitusov against Tor Fredrik Kåsen. Is this any one of these players that you know, or they are all new to you, more or less?
They are all new to me. I know my generation very well, but the next generation, of course, is like, you know, they could be my kids almost in a way.
Yeah.
So it's
no,
harder
I
for
must
me.
say, no, for me, that's what's so nice for me also to be the commentator of this this tournament, is that, you know, you get the chance to see all the talents before they actually, you know, go up to the next level, and you can see their style and get a little bit acquainted with what they do and how they play and so on. So yes, most of them are totally fresh to me as well. So quite interesting, you know, to follow.
But is there any female participant?
There is actually only one. It's Swedish Julia Östensson. That is one of the most promising Swedish youngster. We would love to have more girls coming in. You should know, there is a limit to participate of 1900 in ELO.
Okay.
And we have made a lot of, I know that we have invited a lot of girls as well to the tournament. But unfortunately, there were not anyone more than Julia that could participate. And but I hope that, not the least now with you, Elisabeth, I hope to get your contacts, and not the least the power girls and so on. Maybe.
But they are not under 20 anymore. It should be already like the next power girl program for the next generation.
I would love to do that. So please have your eyes on the different possible girls, and we'd be so happy if they could come to us the next year. But okay, finally, I think we do like this, just to have this screen here to see if we have this. I think I just need to again fix this a little bit so that you look a little bit better on the screen. Like this, I do like that, and we have Elisabeth. Here we have you. That's good. So that's better. But Elisabeth, before you leave us, could you tell me a little bit about, in this type of tournament or for this type of youngsters, what is important to think about if you want to take these next steps? I mean, you have this Power Girl program and in Germany and so on, but what is because I feel that all these 40 players we have, all of them want to take the next step, they want to become professionals and so on. What would be your best advice now that you are a coach and so on?
Well, I mean, it depends, of course, because like nowadays to become a chess professional is not easy. It's very hard. And I think because of our current crisis in the world, it might be even harder to do this. So I would, honestly speaking, I would advise everybody to finish the A levels and also to study, but still to play. And actually, this was done the same way, like by our top guys, for example, like Matthias Blübaum, who's European champion, current European champion. He also finished his studies, or he's studying, and it's not like that you need to be 100% full-time professional and to neglect the studies. You can do both in a way if you keep yourself enough time for both stuff. So it depends. I mean, like if you're living in a country like Sweden or Germany, actually to become a professional is much harder than if you live in a country where the income average per month is lower. So my advice is to always think about also the economic background about your decision. So for example, like I'm at my A levels, I also have some kind of degree as a foreign language correspondent. So I even managed to make some stuff besides of chess. And this is just like to have a backup is always good in now times.
I see.
That's my opinion, but yeah.
Well, I love, no. Actually, I've been thinking a lot about that, because not the least if you can take like the Norwegian boys and girls that I have been in charge of, that you have been helping with me, giving lessons and so on. You know that in Norway, rich country, and to make a salary, you know, comparable if you do it with chess, That's not easy. So quite a lot of them, you know, are struggling with, should I take the step and go all in for chess, or should I go for the university, and so on. So of course that is one stuff. But for me also, when I spoke to some of the youngsters here, I mean, there are like a new market in a way. Just like for you, you are now a trainer, and you have, I know you are commenting a lot, and you are doing, you know, some streaming and stuff like that. So that's nice. So okay, I think I leave you there, Elisabeth. I'm so happy to have had you, and I say good luck with your Power Girls, and I hope to see you next year.
Yes, thanks a lot, Jesper. Have a lot of fun. Good luck with the event, and hopefully next year we will have more Germans to participate, not only like those, I think 2 or 1. It's only Jakob, I'm not sure. Would be nice to see more of them.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, have a
And
good
bye.
day. Bye-bye.
And now we will make a small break, and then Ramesh from India will join me in this shooting. So I have a short break.
Yeah, yes, suppose. Hello. Yes, I can. Take your time.
Okay, so I think we are on now, Ramesh. So nice to have you with us. I don't know what the time is in India right now, but I know there is something strange of 3.5 hour, something like that in the time zone and so on. But I'm so happy you can be joining us for this Uppsala Young Champions of 2022. And first of all, what I do now, because we have had some people joining us, and all of them are actually working with chess talents and the developing of chess talents. And we have had Simen Agdestein from Norway, we have Judith Polgar, now we had Elisabeth Paehtz working with girls in talent programs in Germany and so on. And you are one of those who have your own academy, very, very successful in India, and you were the coach of the Indian too. So first of all, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself, Ramesh, and what you do?
Yeah, hello Jesper, and hello everyone. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation to be here for the, the Uppsala Chess Festival. So really happy to be here. Yeah, I run a chess academy in India. It's called the Chess Gurukul. I live in Chennai, the same city as Vishwanathan Anand. So I've been running this chess school since 2008, and it has been reasonably successful, I would say. So just a moment, let me yes, so I can see the screen on the YouTube.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just send you this link so you can follow, because you will not be able to follow what I do on the screen directly, but you can have it doubled on your screen as well. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, so as I mentioned, I run a chess school in Chennai named Chess Gurukul since 2008, and there have been many grandmasters from this academy, and also many medals in the World Youth Championship students have won. So pretty happy with the work that is being done here.
And of course, I need to ask you, some of the players, what players have you got in your academy? Because I know you have someone, at least some, that not the least have been to Sweden and Rilton Cup and so on, and some that is today quite famous. So who do you train?
I trained with Grandmaster Pragnananda. He's very well known. He's one of the top 5 players in the top 10 among the juniors in the world, I would say, probably around 5th or so. I also work with a few other grandmasters. One is Arvind Chidambaram. He's like 2625, and he has been Indian national champion for 2 times. I also train Karthikeyan Murali, another grandmaster. He's 2623. Both Arvind and Karthi, they both are around 22 years old. And I also work with another grandmaster, Arjun Kalyan, and work with Adiban, Ronak Sadhwani occasionally. And also train Vaishali, elder sister of Pragnananda, and many other players. Probably most of the European audience may not know their names, know them by name.
But actually, you also train some new players, and that is how you and I know each other. So,
Yes.
because you are actually the new coach of Talent Offer, and for Uppsala Chess Plus Academy, you are the coach that
Yes.
we try now to involve in what we do. And you are training online 2 times a week with the top talents of Scandinavia and Nordic countries, and also some other European players that we join in to try to give them the training. And well, what is your opinion? How has it been this? You're sending exercises, you train them?
Yes, it has been a fantastic opportunity for me. Thanks to you. I've been kind enough to arrange this the whole thing to, you brought this whole thing together, and really happy about it. So there are many good players like Aryan Tari is there, and there are many other grandmasters from the Nordic countries. I don't want to miss anyone, so I'm not naming the players. And there is also a player from Italy, Daniel Vocaturo. He's also joining along with the Nordic grandmaster. So it's a pretty strong field. In the grandmaster group, we have many grandmasters, and in the other group, many players over 2400, closer to 2500, trying to break through into the grandmaster title. So it's been a really good experience. I've been taking sessions online twice a week, 1.5 hour each session, and I try to give them different types of positions to improve their calculation skills and also working on in-game and positional skills. So we have had a few sessions already, and I'm also sending them weekly 4 positions to solve at home, and then we discuss these positions once in a month during our online sessions. So far it has been going great, and I will also be visiting Norway Football Club in the month of December, and we'll be having a
Yes,
in-person
this is
camp.
actually, I can tell you, this is actually the first time we announce this, because it is like this, that you will actually come for a training camp first in Norway, in talent offer in Oslo with all these top talents and so on. But then we are very happy also that you will come here to Uppsala and have a training camp 9 to 11 of December. We will have open sessions for everyone to join in Stockholm, but then we will have a big training camp in Uppsala in that weekend. So that will be fantastic to get your knowledge on all this with training and what you have done in India and how you have succeeded with your academy.
Yeah, really looking forward to it.
Yeah. So I will not tell too much about all of you. Go into details how you work and what you do and so on, because that could be like a cliffhanger until you come. But I could tell you that because you and I now, we have had several talks, and discussions on this with chess training and so on, and I have I think it was very interesting for me to hear about your view on chess training. And so far I have spoken to all of those talents that is working with you, and they are so happy to take, to get your knowledge on chess training and your methods and ideas and so on. So I'm really looking forward to when you come to Scandinavia and to Oslo and Sweden. So fantastic.
I'm also looking forward to hear in person the feedback from the players. So really curious to meet them in person.
Yes, that would be lovely. So, first of all, I will show you the names. You will not be seen, but I would like to show you the names of the players, because I don't know how much. Because in this tournament in Uppsala, I think this is the 9th edition of the tournament. For every year, it's been a bit better, and now we are really moving towards the top by having 2 grandmasters and 11 international masters under 20. So I think we are one of the strongest tournaments beside the championships, of course, the European championships and so on. That's always the best ones. But we have now, I hope you can see the setup of the tournament.
Yes.
Is that, that's good. Do you know any of these players? Do you, you have some of them are already in your group, like, I guess, Stefansson, Vatnar Stefansson, to Fredrik Kåsen is in the group, and we have, of course, Sørensen and Edwin Trost, yes. But is there anyone more, or are they new to you, the rest of the players?
Yeah, the rest of the players are I'm not very familiar with them, but I can see that they're all young and they have a very strong rating for their age. So that's really a good thing. As you mentioned, there are 2 grandmasters and 11 international masters, and I can see Grandmaster Sones is leading by half point over the other players, and he seems to be having a very pleasant position with the white pieces as well.
Yes. Let's see here. Sorry, guess this. So what I think been very interesting, because that we have this training camp. Now they have been training for you once a week, and you're setting positions and so on. And what we had done now is also to have a training camp with Gelfand last 2 weeks ago, for 7 days in Oslo with the top talents. And it's been so interesting, because I also say that what they should do, take the chance to get this knowledge from you, how to think, what you do and how you think and so on. And not the least with Boris when he was there, because of course, you have a little bit of a different style and so on. So I'm looking forward now to hear you when you comment on the different games that are shown today. So I will now start to give you the different games.
Mm-hmm.
So just to see if this works fine, I see here, I hope can you see the board now? Is that correct?
I'm seeing a few of the boards. The main one I can see fully is Felix versus Khan. That's the game I'm
I'll
able to.
just check. Can you see the Sonis against Galperin? Can you see that?
Yes, I can. So Bishop
Okay.
E3 has been played.
Exactly. So we have, because in this tournament, like you saw as well, is that we have 2 grandmasters, 11 IMs, and in the lead is Francesco Sonis from Italy. Maybe you know that he was the number 4 in the Junior World Championship that was played, with the same point as the winner. So he was number 4 in that. But I don't know if do you want me to go back to the start of the game? Or he's playing against Platin Galperin, or would you want to go from here, or what do you prefer?
Yeah, we can go from here. Maybe just one move back when he played the Bishop E3. So at this point, knight B-A3 was looking very interesting to go knight B5. The pawn move A5 has weakened the B5 square. So instead of Bishop E3, knight A3, I would very much want to play knight C3 with the same idea, but it fails to Bishop F2 check.
Yep. So if you play this, then we have the check here, and then the knight simply hanging on C4. Huh?
Yeah. Otherwise, knight C3 is a very straightforward solution.
Of course.
So knight B8 was interesting.
Knight A3, like this?
Yes, knight B-A3, knight B1 to A3.
Yeah, I played.
The
There
same
is a
idea
little
of
bit of a delay.
B5.
Exactly. So your idea is to come to B5. What should be played? Queen. No. What do you think should be played here in this position?
Maybe bishop into A3, but then bishop A3, knight A3. We have queen C2, knight C2, and after that we are already threatening bishop takes B7. Sorry,
I think this must
here,
be
not here.
But
Yeah,
this
so
must
bishop
be a
A3,
good
knight.
position.
Yeah, if white manages to get knight B5, it should be very well. So he has to take bishop A3, knight A3, queen C2, knight C2, and then we already have pair of bishops. So that's why I prefer that move over bishop E3, because we get a similar endgame, but instead of the knight on B1, we would have traded the bishop C1.
Yeah, exactly.
So
because
this
when I
endgame,
saw,
yeah,
I'm sorry, but when I saw this position, the first thing I thought about is that what is unusual with this position, and that is the pawn on A5. That should be on A6 normally, or something like that, to make it normal. So that is something that stands out for me. So I totally agree that take the knight to A3 somehow and go for B5 looks like one idea, yeah.
So bishop E3 is quite interesting as well. The point is after bishop E3, knight E3, queen C2, knight C2. And this endgame is also very pleasant, and it's a very risk-free way for white to play for more. And it's not easy for black to develop his bishop on C8, because B6
And also
is
look
not.
at, I just thought about, look at to have a knight on D6 in this position. It must be fantastic, if you, knight C3, knight B5, knight D6, and you will have pressure everywhere, on the position.
Yes, the dark squares are pretty weak, and also the B5 square, and the bishop on G2 is a monster as well, and the rook D1. So white spaces are very active, and probably he should go rook B8 here to get out of the pin and to get B6.
Actually, he played. Yeah, actually played another move. He tried to go for something, to change. He played knight G4 in this position. Just to change the character, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know.
This looks.
But you would like to play rook B8? Was your suggestion?
No, that was after the exchange of the queens. After bishop E3, knight E3, queen C2, knight C2, rook B8.
I see. Okay, so it was in this position you were thinking about this and rook to B8 in this position, yeah.
So, but he can take on E3, but he's playing knight G4. So I think our reply is more or less forced. We have to take on C5.
Okay, so we play this and guess queen C5 is normal.
Yes. And the pawn on F2 is under attack.
Probably E3, yeah?
So for me, like in the screen, I'm getting it a bit delayed.
Yes. So I hope you can see. I made e3 after queen takes c5,
Yes.
e3. Yeah.
Yes. Now
Is
we
that
would.
what you see now as well, Ramesh?
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because knight e3, knight into e3, he has the queen on c5 is protected. Otherwise, I would have considered knight e3 as well instead of pawn on e3. So now it's not easy for him to develop the rook on b8 and bishop on c8. So white still retains good pressure.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
he
actually,
can
it
consider
seems.
knight d2, knight e4, knight d6 ideas.
So you should play like rook b8 or something like that. Try that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
There is also knight e5, maybe to release some pressure, to get out with your pieces, but I don't know.
So the knight d7 to e5.
I just thought
I
that
could just play knight b2.
knight de5, something like that, but I don't know.
I could just develop knight d2.
Yeah, like this, knight d2.
Yeah, knight b d2.
And yeah, and still you have this advantage in the position, yeah.
Yeah. So black is lagging behind in development, and also the dark square, many squares are weak, and the knight on g4 in many cases could be hanging as well. So he has numerous problems to solve.
Actually, this was the game. He took on
It already
c5
happened.
with a queen takes c5, e3, rook b8, just like as you said. And now knight ba3 in this position. You prefer knight d2, but then b5 maybe is dangerous, huh?
You could go back knight a3.
Yeah, this is the position. Rook b8. This is the position.
Yeah, looks still bad in my view.
Yeah, I agree.
Probably knight d6.
Sorry, what?
Knight d6 probably.
But the queen is hanging on c2.
After knight e5, he played rook b8 directly.
Yes, exactly.
Without knight e5.
e3, rook b8.
Okay.
And that's
So
why he played knight
after,
ba3.
Okay, so I was thinking after, yeah. So now also we can go knight ba3, I guess.
Yeah, that was it was played, and now b6 came in this position.
Okay.
Like this. Probably
So
this was.
he still cannot play bishop b7 because the d7 knight is hanging. So he has to probably go back knight gf6 and then play bishop to b7 because the knight on g4 is also hanging in some cases.
What do you think about this move to play queen e2 and then rook ac1 and knight d6?
Yes, we can start with queen e2. We can also start with rook a c1 and then just go knight d6.
Go this one, rook ac1, and then knight d6 immediately. Maybe that is even
The other
stronger.
alternative that looks fair is to just double the rooks on the d file with rook d2.
Yeah.
Idea.
Yeah.
So I think all the three look pretty decent for white.
Yeah. Yeah. I had this talk with Judith this morning, Judith Polgar. She was joining me. And it was quite good because I asked her to give her best advice to the youngsters playing this tournament. And you should know that in this tournament you have this 90 minutes plus 30 seconds per move in this tournament. And she said that one of her, what she was thinking about quite a lot when she played was that when you have this kind of time, you should not be too worried about if you have a move that is good. Do you want to find a better one? You need to be a bit pragmatic, to have a bit, so you have good time when it comes to in the end of the games. How do you relate to that? To try to find perfection when it comes to to find just a good move. What is your advice to your students on that?
Yeah, so that's a very interesting question because in many situations it largely depends on the situation on the board. If the position is very critical and there is only one way to achieve our objective, it could be like in a slightly worse position we are trying to equalize, or in a slightly better position we are trying to either retain the advantage or increase the advantage. So it depends on the objective and the nature of the position. So there are some positions which are very complex and very hard to analyze. Even if we think a lot, it practically it could be very difficult to analyze and find the truth behind the position. So that is also another way to look at it, whether the position is objectively possible to analyze and come to a conclusion, or it is very hard to come to a conclusion even if we think for a long time. So if it is going to be practically difficult to come to a logical conclusion, then it makes sense to play intuitively, just to follow the chess principles and play true to our understanding of the position. But if the position is very critical, let's say we have a worse position and we feel our opponent has just given us a chance by making a mistake. So if I play correctly, maybe I can equalize the position. So in such cases, we should not play intuitively. We should try to dig deep and find that only way to get that equality, because our opponent has just given us a chance. It also depends on the time on the clock. When we have more time on the clock, it makes sense to spend some time, because in this position, for example, white's position is clearly better. Black has many problems to solve. It's not easy to develop the bishop on c8 because the knight on d7 is hanging. So probably he may have to go knight gf6 and then get ready to play bb7. But we always will have this knight d6 idea, and it won't be easy for the bishop to develop even after knight f6. So here, I think all the three moves which I mentioned, like one is queen e2, the other is rook ac1, and the other move was rook d2. All the three moves look fairly good from white's viewpoint. So maybe we can spend like 3-4 minutes trying to compare what could happen after either of these continuations, and try to come to a conclusion whether one is clearly superior to the rest of the moves. If that is the case, then we can maybe spend a few more minutes, like 6 minutes or so, and then we can come to a very clear conclusion. One move is much better than the others. But after 5-6 minutes of thought, if you are not able to conclude one move is superior to the other by a big margin, then we should probably stick to our nature, whichever move that suits our style. For example, if I like to go to an end game, then probably I just play like rook ac1, and whatever happens, knight d6 on the next move, something like this.
I had, just so you know, that when we had this training session with Boris Gelfand, his main theme was, in critical moments, if you should go for, just to force stuff, to try to force, a concrete solution, or if you should build up with, just keeping it safe, building up a little bit, strengthening your position a little bit more. And you had a lot of positions where you had to make this choice. It was very interesting lessons that he gave, and all the players were, this is, I guess, many players who are dealing with this type of questions, and combine it with what you say, this about how to, use the time in the best way, time management in a way, so yeah, very interesting. Okay, so let's go back and see. So in this position, I just show you what happened was rook b8, knight ba3, and b6, and this is the position. Because I saw one idea. I don't know what you say about this, Ramesh, but I saw rook ac1. Maybe it's possible to play bishop b7 actually.
So you want to play queen c6 check and
exactly. And if you take, then the rook takes back, and I mean, I don't say that still white will be better, but I don't know how this is. And if you take on b7, rook take, queen e4, you have queen a5, h5. So it's at least I still think that white is better, but I just thought that this might be a possibility, or there is some tactical problem somewhere.
Maybe for bb7 we could go queen e2
in this position, or
after rook AC1, bishop B7,
Yes, bishop
queen
E7,
E2.
yeah,
Basically,
and queen E2.
I'm
Yeah.
moving my queen away with a tempo, attacking knight G4, so that I can throw my knight D6. The rook
Yes,
C1,
and then probably take on G2.
king G2.
Yes, and then go back with a knight, I guess, something like that.
Yes, and knight D6 still.
Yes, and even though you have, you have managed to get rid of your bad bishop on C8, the knight is dominating on D6.
Yes.
So this is a solid solution, in a
And
way.
the C file will be in totally white's control. The other knight can go to B5 and rook C7.
Yes, yes, I agree. And you have the rook coming down. So, yeah, still there is no doubt white is clearly better in this position, I guess. Yeah.
So I think probably black's move C5 was a big mistake in the opening.
Yes, I
Move
see.
9.
Yeah. Move
So he
9.
should
Okay.
not have opened the position when he was so far behind in development.
For me, actually, it was this move A5 after 7 queen C2 that at least it looked a little bit strange to
It's
me.
dubious,
But
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, let's take another game. We have on the second board, we have Kaan Kukushari from Sweden, originally from Turkey, but he's lived in Sweden now for quite a while, and Felix Bluberger from Grandmaster from Austria. And we have this position. It is black to play. It is a bit strange position, I think, again, but what do you see? What do you think?
Yeah, so yeah, black seems to be better here.
Yes, my feeling is that black must be at least okay, but probably better even in this position. That's my feeling as well.
Yeah, he has advanced his pawns on the queen side, and black's knight E2 and bishop D2 not so great, and also white's attack on the king side looks a bit slow. Ideally, he should have had H4 and G4 on the board already.
Yes.
So he seems to have given a lot of time for black to advance his pawns without really getting his counterplay in the game. He has a strong center. Ideally, he would like to get E4, D5 quickly, or G4, H4, H5.
Oh, sorry, that was my mistake. So this is okay. So you said maybe E4 and try to push the pawns in the center.
Yeah. White would very much want to get his pawn mass rolling. Either he should go G4, H4, H5 or E4, D5 to open up the position for his pieces. But now black cannot take on D3 because the queen on C7 is under pin. So one logic is maybe queen B6 or queen B7. I'm not sure which is the better square. So that the bishop is under threat, and when he goes bishop C2, I can get B4. So in the case of both queen B7 and queen B6,
maybe to go to A4, I don't know. But I must say this looks good. The only for me is that when you make this push B5, B4, normally you want to have a little bit, your rooks ready or something like that. Yeah. But maybe it's good to push them already now. You have to say, I don't know.
Yeah. So one thing is like black can go castle and then push B4. But
I have. What do you think about this idea to go with a rook like this, to use it this way and stay with the king in the center? Is that a possibility?
I'm not seeing the move. There is some lag.
Okay.
I'm getting it a bit delayed.
I see. Okay, I'm sorry. No, my idea was to play after queen C2. It was to play rook H5, B4, and bring over the rook. That was my idea, but I don't know if it was good. So. Anyway, after
it's very provocative to get the rook. Yeah, it's very.
I know. I just yes. Sometimes it looks more beautiful than it's good. So
yes.
Anyway, Queen B7 came like you suggested.
Yeah, I was not sure which square was better, B7 or B6.
Yeah.
But probably like he wants to keep the option of playing knight B6 later, if the
And
C
that's
pawn comes
after,
under trouble.
and now bishop C2, and now he simply castled. He choose your, what do you say, standard method, and not my tryout to be initiative or imaginative. So he played a castle in this position.
Okay.
So this
So
is the actual
white has,
position on the board.
yeah, white has two plans. One, he should go for H4, G4, H5, or even sometimes like H4, H5, GH5, and then G4. Try to sacrifice a pawn in dragon style and open a file. Or he should try to go E4 and maybe bishop E3, because I believe black is going to play B4 followed by C3, and the bishop would need some squares. So maybe we can preempt it with E4, bishop E3. But in both the cases, I feel white is a bit slow. Black's pawn seems very quick. And I think one of the reasons why he preferred queen b7 is after b4, if the pawn on c4 comes under pressure, he always has this knight b6.
Yeah.
So that's why he preferred
but
queen b6.
I would say that this, here we have this type, if you're playing white here, you have this choice of two different plans, either to go for the center, like you say with e4 and try to play bishop e3 or something like that, or you go for g4, h4. What would you prefer? What to do now? Because I'm pretty sure that Khan, Kukushari with white here, this is what he's thinking about, and try to find out which is the best.
Yeah, I think probably h4, because even if we manage to get e4, d5, there is not much to be gained in the center. Whereas if we can get an attack on the queen, on the king side against the black king, that can be serious counterplay from white's viewpoint. So even if white managed to win a pawn in the center, that's not going to help much when black's attack is going to look so dangerous on the queen side. So it's better either to slow down the attack on the queen side. If that is not possible, then we need to get our counter attack going against the black king. So from that perspective, I would prefer h4. And I would not prefer g4 for the reason that h4 gives white more options. I can choose to go g4, h5 later, or I can start with h4, h5, and then g4. So I have that flexibility when I start with h4.
Yes, and in what, when you say this, you know, if for your students and so on, and how, at what moment should they start to calculate? You know, because these are, now they have identified the two different plans, and now you need to, I guess, get deep down into more concrete variations and start to calculate, because here there will be a sharp race between, you know, those two.
Yeah. So black is already. Yes, black is already slightly ahead, I would say, in this activity against white king. He already has the pawn on c4, so he's also ready to get b4.
So let's play b4 like this, yeah.
Yes, one thing he need to consider is whenever he plays b4, we have the option of going bishop a4, and the pawn on c4 could be hanging. But we always have this knight b6 in return. Yes. For example, let's say h4, b4, and
but I think
if he plays bishop a4, then we have knight b6.
Yeah, I think that bishop a4 for me loses its you know, its perfection, because knight b6 also covering up the c4 pawn, and you know, this is under attack, the bishop on a4. Yeah. So I think that probably queen b7 was quite smart due to that. Yeah, like you said.
With the queen on b6, this option would not be possible. Maybe bishop a4 would make sense there, and the c4 pawn is also under pressure. So here, I think from a practical viewpoint, I don't think white can play slowly. He has to do something very active. In that sense, probably he has to go h4. One other alternative, maybe he can consider is king a1. The point is, if b4, maybe I can consider bishop e4 idea. If knight e4, f e4, queen e4, I can take rook c4. That is the point.
I see.
So I don't
But
want that queen e4 to come with check.
no,
So
I
that's the
see.
point of king a1. But again, h4 looks, king a1 looks a bit too slow. It does
Yeah.
not give quite any counterplay. We are just taking a preemptive measure, but
Mm-hmm.
h4 seems to be the critical continuation.
Yeah. So
And
let's say
yeah,
castling. Okay. So h4, b4. Should you go for h5 in that position then?
yeah, I would definitely want to consider h5 seriously, because it seems with every move, white's position is becoming critical. Black's attack seems to be a bit too fast. So
Mm-hmm.
I have to, the timing is critical. I cannot be too slow. I cannot be lagging behind.
I
So I think
agree.
I have to go h5, I believe.
So okay, I think black needs to take the pawn on h5 with the pawn up. That's my feeling.
Yeah.
Do you
So
agree?
then I have two options. One to go g4 all the way, and
Mm-hmm.
just one of the files will be open for sure. And the other
Mm-hmm.
alternative may be play e4 first,
Mm-hmm.
and then
And
to
go
go
for
for
and threatening to play e5 and take with the rook on h5, I guess. Huh?
yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. And then the
But
question is which
g4
one?
looks
And
very fast.
yes. And again, you will have this difficult choice between which one to choose. You know, when you see this kind of possibilities. You know.
Yeah, so one option is like if we can calculate some decent variations in our favor,
Mm.
that is
Mm.
an approach. But I believe white is already in a slightly desperate situation. So in
Mm-hmm.
desperate situation, it makes sense to go all in by taking huge risks, because if we are raising the stakes very high, if it works in
Mm-hmm.
our favor, the risk, then opponent from an advantageous position, he has more to lose.
Mm.
So from that sense, I would prefer to go all in. But since this is still early stages of the game, both players have significant amount of time on the clock. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer to take some time and then take the decision.
Yes, because this is again, what is interesting when you play this type of, with castle on different sides, it's like every move is critical in a way. You
Yeah,
you can easily, if
especially
one mistake and you're dead.
yeah,
So.
especially when black is having so much activity already on the against the white
Mm,
king.
mm, mm. Okay, so let's see. He actually chose to play e4 in this position and not h4 but I must say that under your command looking for this, it feels like that h4 gave better chances. Also because one thing I've been thinking of is that you have your bishop on c2. And I'm not sure that, with e4, you actually close this diagonal in a way
But
towards h7.
probably he wants to put the bishop on e3. He's taking a positional approach. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
he's not trying to do anything very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, he probably wants to like for example, when b4 c3 comes, you
Mm-hmm.
had the bishop
So let's
e1
so
option.
so
So
okay,
for
let's play
b4, probably he
b4.
wants to go bishop e3, so that
Sorry,
c3 will not come with the tempo.
you said bishop e3, or what did you say?
Yeah,
Sorry.
for
Yeah.
b4, bishop e3, so that c3 will not
Mm-hmm.
come with the tempo.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's say that I just move on something like a5 or just go with the next one and go for
So he didn't play
this.
h4, I guess, right? Instead of h4, he played e4.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
I hope you can see the position on your screen as well.
So I'm seeing it in Chess24 website,
Yeah,
so that
it's okay.
I'm able to see the current position.
Yeah.
On the YouTube channel, I am seeing a different position.
Okay. Because I hope to. I did send you the link on in the chat, so you can follow that one. Did you see that, Ramesh?
Yes.
In Zoom, I send you the link, so it
Yes.
should be
Yes.
possible for you to see
Yes.
actually
Yes. Now I
also
am
the.
seeing.
Yeah.
Yes. Now I am seeing. Yes. So
Yeah.
yeah, He is probably taking a quiet approach by playing e4. In case of b4, to go bishop e3. Yeah, this looks a bit too slow.
Yes, I must. That's why I said I preferred your idea, because now he's not threatening anything really. He needs to play this h4 h5, like a little bit like you said, like desperately to get some kind of counterplay, because black will come very fast here with a5 a4 and so on. So I would be worried about this situation, but
Yeah, I think black should be quite happy with the way things have turned out in the opening.
yeah. So this is the current position. Like we said, b4 came, and then bishop e3, a5 was the position we discussed. So, okay, so right now we have black in the driver's seat, like it feels, and it's really important for Khan to get a counterplay, but also somehow to get this under the attack that will come under control, but it will not be easy for sure, So is it okay we move to another game?
Sure.
Because I also have, from my point of view, I guess we have two of the top contenders are also Elham Abdrlauf and Vignir Vatnar Stefansson. Those are, from my point of view, and you know at least Vignir, you know him. I think those two are two of the most prominent and talents we have in the Nordic countries right now. So I see it a little like a battle between two of those that soon will be grandmasters and part of their national teams and so on. So it's quite interesting. Okay, we had this game, Scandinavian game. Black white in the beginning had a better, a little bit better game, immediately, like you often get, some and so on. But what do you say about this position? It is white.
Looks like white's position is pretty good, because in my view, when we play with knight against knight, without the other minor pieces, in pure knight versus knight, in the middle game or even in the end game, it's the one who has more space will have a chance to play for an advantage. So I see that white has more space, so he has multiple ideas. So one thing is like black would probably want to play e5. The dark squares are weak. He's not able to challenge the knight on e4 with knight f6, and the dark squares are weak. And the black queen, the two rooks. Black's position is quite solid. The queen is taking control of the d6 square, and I would even consider moves like c4, c5 to get knight d6, and then I can play h4, rook e4. I can get an attack on the king side as well. So I have these h4 ideas, and c4, c5, knight d6 idea is quite strong as well. So
what about so would you another idea here is also, I guess, to try to get like rook e3, double rooks, and go for the some kind of attack on the h6 pawn if possible, but I don't know.
Yeah, but in that case I have to move my queen to get the rook to the king side, and maybe we can go rook e3, queen e2. In that case the queen will be missed on the king side.
Yeah,
and we should also make sure he does not get the e5 breakthrough.
Yes,
So that we need to take care as well. So probably c4 he could go e5.
So e5 now, is that a dangerous threat, e5 in this position? Because if you take it, the knight will be released, knight take e5. Oh no, okay, there is a check on f6, of course, always. But so you have to watch out. But so yeah, maybe this is not a threat, e5.
Yeah,
because you simply take it.
Yeah, we simply take. And in case of rook e5, we have rook d7.
Take d7. Huh? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So e5 is still not a threat. But probably he could consider f5, knight moves, and then e5. That's what he has to do. If black to play, just go for f5.
Mm.
And if knight c3, let's say, then e5.
Mm. Then you could even consider to play f5, knight c5, take, and get a square on d6 for your rook. I don't know.
Yes,
That's
that is
possible.
interesting. But maybe like mc3, e5, also we have a d5 idea.
Mm. Actually, he played c4 now
He played
in
c4.
this position. He played c4 in this position. White played c4 instead of those ideas. Actually, there was one idea, actually this is from the computer actually, that says that instead of c4, maybe queen c3 is a good move. It looks a bit strange, but the idea is that you have d5 of course, but also if you play f5, you have knight c5 and queen takes c5.
Okay. And then
So
the
that
e6
might
pawn is
be
backward. E6 pawn is
then
e6 pawn will be backward.
exactly. So then you have some pressure on that one. So queen c3 is actually quite an interesting move, even though I don't say it's fantastic, but it's at least an interesting idea just to a little prophylactic to take
Yeah,
down
I saw queen
the
c3, but I felt like maybe you'll just go back king g8 or something.
yeah, or something. Yeah, move the king to h7 or so. I don't know, something like
Yeah,
that.
king
Okay, I
h7.
agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, what happened was c4.
Mhm.
And maybe he's going for your idea to play c5 and knight d6 in this position.
And also now queen c3 makes a bit more sense with the pawn on c4
Yes.
already.
So, okay, let's go for your idea with f5 now then.
Yeah. f5 and e5, that we need to be careful. So I'm not sure where to put the knight. Knight c3, idea knight e2, knight f4, but we should always be worrying about the e5 breakthrough. So from that sense,
Yeah, this is not, it's not
if
clear
knight
where to put the
c3,
knight.
if knight c3, he is getting e5,
Yeah, that was my idea at least,
and we are not getting d e5, knight e5, queen c3,
No,
because the knight is on
exactly.
c3. So from
Yeah.
that sense, maybe we could play knight d2. The idea is queen c3 and knight f3. If we have time for that.
Sorry, you said knight d2, you said?
Yeah, so the idea is to go queen c3 followed by knight f3 and to get a blockade
Uh-huh.
on the e5.
So then the
But
question is, should you go for e5 then?
then d5, knight e5, queen c3.
And then king h7 maybe? I mean, still white will probably be a bit better, but at least now you have released your, because the weakness is on the king side with h6, g6 and f5 will always make it a little bit better for white, but at least you have maybe some chances to hold it with black. I don't know what you say.
Yeah, so maybe I should try to double my rooks here, like rook e3, but then knight g4. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. That is a threat, so knight g4 here. Yeah, okay. Not a good move, okay. So yeah, I think for me it feels like after c4 now it's a little bit of this is a crucial moment in this game. I don't know what you say, but here because I feel that if white has got the chance to play c5 and then go for knight d6 and so on, there is no doubt that white will be better in that position, I believe. So here really f5 is a crucial move. What do you think?
Yeah, f5 I think seems critical, but in this position,
So f5, we looked at f5, and now the question is how to react on f5. I don't know, this idea with knight c5 that I thought of, what about that one?
For f5, knight c5.
Yes, as f5, knight to c5, and take, because if you play e5 and take on d7, so you must take, and I take back with a pawn. And now,
rook d6.
Sorry, what did you say?
And you're threatening rook d6.
Yeah, rook d6, and you also, but also, you know, queen c3 check is also a little bit annoying, you know. Rook d6.
Yeah, so I probably
c3,
should go e5, or I can sacrifice a pawn with rook d8. Yeah, I have to take knight c5. Knight c5 looks pretty forced.
So okay, so e5.
You have rook d6.
Rook d6. And now, I think this looks quite promising, actually.
Quite pleasant, for white. Yeah. Yes.
Because it sounds pleasant, also because you have this g6 and rook d1, and okay, you have e4 and so, but queen c3. I would feel that this is uncomfortable for black.
Yeah, it certainly looks so.
Okay, but don't forget, he has not played f5 yet. So we'll see if there is any other options.
So if white manages to defend, black manages to defend the king side and prevent the entry on the d7, then probably he can hope to put some resistance.
Okay, this is interesting. Just I want to like to show you some other players as well. We have, not the least, we have, there is some interesting games here. We have Zemen Mitusov and one player you know a bit about, Tor Fredrik Kaasen from Norway. That is also part of Talent Offer that you have been training. So here it is, black to play, and I must say this is a bit provocative move, h3. I don't know what you say, but for me, in a blitz game, I would have taken on h3 in 1 second, I believe, you know. but that's me, of course.
You're very provocative.
Yes, this is really provocative to play h3 in this position. Oh,
because the alternative bishop f3, queen f3 is not very appealing.
No, so actually, I don't know what he's thinking about. You know, why do you think in this position? Have you got any other choice than taking on? This is so
probably like he's trying to see what I mean. White just played h3, so he's assuming he would have something for bishop h3. So probably he's worried about rook a3. After bishop h3, g3, queen h3, rook a3.
But not rook a3 now. Can you mean take first on h3? I guess.
Yes. Yeah, yes, take on h3. So bishop h3, gh3, queen h3, and then we have to consider moves like knight h2 or rook a3.
Okay, knight g5 is also more, maybe. I don't know. Okay, so what do you suggest that we take? But I think rook a3. What about knight to g4? Isn't that just simply winning this line?
Yeah, you're threatening. I'm not getting knight h2. Yes.
No, you cannot play that. So I think this looks.
And if knight h2, you have knight h4. So that also seems.
You mean in this position? You mean knight h2?
No.
And then this. No.
Yeah, after rook a3, knight g4, it looks like completely white. Now knight
game
h4
over.
Is the next one. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now I understand what you mean. Okay, I see. Okay, yes.
So maybe instead of rook a3, I was considering knight h2, but you have knight h4 instead of rook a3.
But knight g5, I think. What about that? What do you think about that move?
Yes. So by just eliminating knight h2 and rook a3, it looks like knight g5 is forced.
On the move, huh?
Yeah. And if queen g3, king h1, queen h4 check, king g2.
And if you take on f2, there's maybe even rook a3 in that line. Huh? So you play check on h4, king g2. And now you have knight f4 check as a possibility, or maybe, I don't know, h6, or what do you say?
Yeah, probably we
Knight-
should try for a draw
Yeah.
because we cannot let him get queen of 3 and then he will consolidate.
Yes.
Or
Also,
even
you know,
now,
like
rook a3, rook g3, rook a3. Once he gets rook a3, rook g3,
exactly. I
it will
agree.
be beaten back.
Yeah. So,
So we can
but
try
what's-
knight f4, bishop f4, ef4. The knight will be under attack. And if knight f3, queen g4 check maybe.
okay, and knight f3, you have check. Let's say this one you give a check on g4, I guess, huh?
I'm not getting it on the screen yet. So I'm seeing king g2 position.
And queen g4 check, I thought, because the queen is hanging, huh?
No, after king g2.
I thought knight f4 as a king g2. What I was thinking about was knight f4, check, bishop take, e take
E4.
f4, and then knight f3.
Knight f3, and then queen g4 check first.
Exactly, that was my
Now
my
king
analyze.
h1
King h1.
to get knight h2.
Yes, exactly. And now you need to find something. Should you go for bringing in the rooks to rook be8 or something like that?
You have to get rook e5 at some point. Rook e5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have a perpetual queen h3, queen g3.
Exactly, that was the plan. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Or actually, if you, yeah, exactly. You have that was my idea. But this is a little bit dangerous. Rook be8, you know.
Yeah, looks a very interesting
Because-
position. I think in all the other games there was a clear favorite, but in this game the position seems very totally messy.
Yes, this is like you say. This is really messy. So knight h2 in this position. What is happening then? Because rook queen on h3, rook a3 will come with a tempo. So probably this one. And now.
So knight h2. I don't
Yes,
think
and
we should
queen h4.
Queen h4. Yeah.
I don't know.
The e4.
This is a
under attack.
mess. Because I mean, it's in. Because now actually rook e5 and rook to h5
is coming.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, but do you know he played bishop h5 to Fredrik?
He didn't take.
He didn't take, but that was a big surprise to me, you know. But I don't know.
And yeah.
I think that would I would have preferred to take on h3 and go for this variation that we had.
Seems to have thought a lot of time as well.
Yes, exactly.
And you can see the psychology at play here.
Yeah, because I thought about that, because I was going to mention to you that he played a very interesting game against Abdrlauf Elham in 2 rounds ago, where he was going for this type of attack, you know, to take, not exactly take on h3 and so on, but, you know, sacrificing pawns to get an attack and so on. And he failed to convert. an interesting position. I don't think he was winning or something like that, but at least, you know, this type of attack and so on. So maybe he was a bit afraid that it would happen again, you know, this.
So probably he thought the threat of knight h4 is very unpleasant or hard to meet for white. But I think we can just go queen d3. I'm not seeing.
Queen d3,
so once
yeah.
we play queen d3 here, we get out of the pin.
Yep, I agree.
It's the only way to get out of the pin.
Yeah.
Knight h4 is not coming, so I'm not sure what he had seen.
Because, I mean, okay, g4 will never come, but on the other hand, how should black be able to, you know, to proceed now with
white has very many pleasant ideas. One, he can go b4, try to get c5, even bishop a4 to harass the queen. Yep. So we have many interesting ideas from white's perspective. So I'm not sure how black can get some attack. If he can get pawn breakthrough with f5, or not really sure what he has in mind.
No, I thought maybe even bishop d1 just to swap off the bishop, you know. I don't know. No, I think now that white has got a clear grip of the position, and you know, he's a pawn up as well. Don't forget. So,
yes, I think bishop h5 is a bit strange.
Yeah, bishop h5. It feels like this was a mistake. If this is not if this is the only move, something is wrong, because to take on h3 is, for me, like I said, I was almost laughing when I saw it, because I felt that he must take it, and that he didn't.
The thing is, like when we hesitate, then the doubts become bigger and bigger in our mind, and then we start seeing ghosts everywhere.
It seems like when we speak now, Ramesh, that you are quite often, when you're with your students, thinking about with the psychological aspect of each move and so on. Is that something you're working a lot with your students on?
Yeah, definitely, because I feel the decisions we take, they are not, especially at a very high level, most of the time it is very objective, but most of the time at the lower level, we are taking emotional decisions. It's our doubts, our insecurities. They make us take some. Whenever we usually take a bad decision, usually it is this issues we have that is coming out. And for example, bishop h5, that hesitation, not to give the sacrifice. It is his own imaginary doubts that is making him hesitate, not give the sacrifice. So someone who is very confident, they would just go for bishop h3 and say, like, I'll meet the consequences. And the variations were not very difficult to calculate, because more or less forced. Knight g5 was more or less forced, and probably he felt he has to settle for a draw with queen g4 check and so on. So he felt maybe with bishop h5 I can take a risk, but if white plays queen d3 here, I think positionally he's much superior. And with the pawn down, probably he won't have much to show for the pawn.
I agree. Okay, so that's one problem is, of course, also that I see here that he is beyond on time to Frederick. So it was, like you said, a big hesitation in that situation, probably thinking yourself down to 30 minutes left. Your opponent has got 1 hour, and you get nervous, and bishop h5 came. But yes, but I'm sure this is something you can speak to him about when you have your training sessions. So that's great. But let's go back to this game of Francesco Zonis against Galperin, and we now have this position that I hope you can see. Can you see the position?
Yeah.
So maybe should we have the moves? Maybe we had rook b8, knight to ba3, b6, and we have this queen e2 that we were speaking about. but instead of rook AC1, knight GF6, knight D6, seems like, you know, knight D5, and in this position, knight DB5, like this, and yeah, and now queen is. I must ask you, because
Probably
in this
knight
position,
A5. Yeah.
yeah, you can. Do you see the position knight DB5?
Yes.
Yeah, because for me, bishop A6 is the normal move here, but I don't know.
We have rook C1.
Yeah, maybe bishop A6 and rook AC1.
And then I take on D5. If queen E7,
Yeah.
I can take on D5.
Yeah, actually, I thought about that, but I thought this was, I don't know, to get some, you know, you take on D5, E take D5, rook take D5, and something like, you know, try to get some counterplay. But maybe that is simply good for, you know, because if you take 2 times, there is maybe bishop B7, and you have some long diagonal, knight F6, and some kind of counterplay. But I don't know what you think.
Yeah, but I think I could just go rook D4, threatening rook C7.
So you mean take on D5 in this position, or?
Yes.
And E take D5.
So here maybe I can play rook C7 directly, or I can take rook D5. It looks very critical.
Yeah.
And if bishop B7, rook D4, threatening rook C7.
Okay, and rook FC8 maybe in this position. Okay, I mean, still, there's no doubt white is better, but I just thought that this was, to me, that it looks more normal, you know. But because he played queen E7 immediately, and now it like white has got more choices in this position. But I don't know. So how should white continue here? Should you play E4 and then knight E6? Or should you?
Yeah, we have rook A1 and bishop A6 as well, right?
In this position, actually, bishop take D5 came. That was a surprise to me. Here he took on D5. That is, for me, very strange. Would you have done that? Take here? Take
no, we have to see. Like probably he wants to go knight C3, not take on D5.
Yeah, he played knight C3. But now, I guess knight F6 will come, huh?
And then we can probably get knight AB5, knight D4 blockade at the worst case.
But you have bishop G4 and bishop B6.
F3. Yeah.
Yeah, and then at least you have some compensation, I guess, with his weaknesses, you know.
Yeah, in that sense, maybe he should have gone E4.
Yeah.
So probably he thought maybe rook D4 here, but B5 idea.
In this position like this, yeah.
Yeah, since BG4 is coming. But then I would ideally want my knight to be on D4. If I put my rook on D4.
Yeah.
So one option is I can put my rook on D4, knight A B5, and if there is bishop A6 problems, I can always have A4.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
No, not rook D4 here. So after bishop D5, E5, knight F6, I mean.
You mean in this position? Okay, take, and rook D4 in this position, you mean?
Yeah, after
not
knight
to
C3.
take the pawn. Or do you want to play knight C3 first?
Yes, after knight C3, knight F6.
Sorry, knight C3, and in this position after knight F6, now you want to play rook to D4. Is that correct?
Yeah, so first thing is like bishop G4 is coming. So, but is it a big threat? How about knight A B5?
Yeah, in that sense, this makes some kind of sense to play rook to D. Instead of taking the pawn, simply go for
If I have to prevent bishop g4,
Mhm.
I can consider this move. But as I mentioned, I would ideally want my knight to be on d4, not the rook.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you can get b5 ideas.
Okay, so
Not b5, knight b5, bishop e6, just a4. So
yes,
probably that is not the best.
yeah,
So maybe you should just sit tight, bishop e6 at the worst case, and then get rook c8, rook c5, and at some point get e5.
something like that. Okay, yes.
So
Actually,
maybe rook
it
d4
just
is not good. Maybe knight a b5 is better.
so knight c3, knight f6. You said you believe this is better. Knight b is like this, or
Knight a b5, knight a b5.
And then bishop g4,
f3.
f3, and then go with a bishop to e6 or something like that. And we have this type of position. But I must say, for me, it feels like white has let black lose in a way that he shouldn't have had. You know, there must have been a better continuation than this. It's my feeling, you know.
Yeah. So probably knight d b5 was not the way. But even here, I believe white has some pressure.
Yeah.
At the worst case, he can always have king f2. And I would prefer, like, if I can get knight d4 and maybe a4, just prevent b5 permanently. So that will seal the queen side completely. And then I can get g4, king h1. I can probably get some attack on the king side. So
I don't know.
after
I still
bg4,
must say
f3,
it's,
bishop e6. After
it's no
bg4,
doubt.
bishop e6, knight d4, threatening knight c6.
I agree. No, I still believe that white is better, of course, but it feels like black suddenly, at least, you know, come out with the pieces. The rooks can be on c8 and d8, so it's much easier now than it was just a couple of moves before, you know. So the trend is that black is getting closer to equalizing than before.
I think probably instead of knight d b5, you should have gone knight a b5 a few moves ago.
Yes. Yeah.
So knight d b5 allowed the queen to go back to e7. With knight a b5, it would have been different.
But here we have a little bit strange, because now black is thinking, and for me again, but like I said with Tor Frederick, when I was laughing a little bit, that he had no choice by taking on h3. He didn't play it. So, but because for me knight f6 is so obvious to play in this position. But maybe I missed something. I don't know what you say. Is there any other possibility to go for than?
For knight c3, maybe he wants to go bb7 d4. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean,
to get
in
knight
the
e5.
knight c3,
To get knight
this
e5.
is played. So, I mean, is there any other move for black than knight f6 in this position?
Yeah. So probably he is considering bishop b7 now. The idea is d4, rook d4, knight e5, something like that.
But now I would like to play knight to b5. I think.
Yeah. Or maybe he wants to go d4 directly.
You mean in this position, just sacrifice the pawn immediately, like this?
Yeah. But knight f6 looks very logical.
Yeah, for me,
Either way, he's going to lose the pawn. So he's just saying, like, this is the better way to give the pawn.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I think we go for the other games, and let's take a look at this Khan game again, because that was very interesting. We had this interesting position. And what is interesting now is that you can see the pace that they play. Now they are thinking a lot. So they are really into this very tense moment, how to continue to play. E4 came, b4, and now white didn't play bishop e3, but bishop g5. What do you say about that? What do you say about
Yeah, he
that?
seems he wants to play e5
Mm-hmm.
and bishop e4 ideas.
Mm. Now
So
comes a
exchange
very
and
interesting.
get bishop e4. Basically, he needs a square for the bishop. Looks very scary and slow.
He played this move now, b3.
Sacrificing a pawn.
Took here, and rook a b8. What about that? That was for me a bit strange actually, but I don't know.
He wants to sacrifice an exchange after bishop f4.
But I just want to see in this position here, because after this, is that the best move? Yeah, maybe. Okay. What happened was rook b8, and now it is white to play.
It still looks scary.
Yes, I agree.
Critical. So he wants to take cb3 and then queen b4.
And go for a check. You know, he wants to take here, and then you will have this square where it's very, very dangerous to get with the queen and so on. So that's the idea.
So the critical move seems to be bishop f4.
Yes.
If I move,
okay.
I can take on c4. So probably
here, can you take on b3 now?
Yeah. And then bishop d3.
Bishop d3. And rook c8.
But here the point of rook b8 is lost if we have to play rook c8, isn't it?
Sorry, what did you say? What is lost?
No, he played rook b8 not to play rook c8. He's wasting time. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I agree. I see what you mean. Okay, yes.
So maybe he should just sacrifice the exchange. But even if I get... No, maybe on b8. I should allow bb8, rook b8.
So
but
you
then
mean
how do
take
I
on...
make that?
So something like else in this position?
Maybe like queen b4. After cb3, bd3. Bishop f4, cb3, bishop d3. And now
sorry, do I miss something? Bishop, sorry, in this
bishop
position...
f4, cb3, bishop d3.
Bishop d3, yes.
And now maybe queen b5 or queen b4. Queen b4.
Yes, queen b4. And you take on b8, I guess.
Yeah, so probably you should do the exchange back. Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe you can go rook c3, knight c1.
Rook c3 and knight c1. Okay, so this. It's a little bit like white, you know, it's like black has, you know, I don't see that it's so dangerous now.
Yeah, because for queen a4 we have knight c3. So maybe I should try queen a5, but you still have... Yeah.
But what I must say, there is one thing that I was a bit surprised of is in this position b4, bishop g5, because my question is e5 really a threat? Is this a threat, e5, knight d5?
At which
I think,
point?
you know, if you play e5, it's just good for black, I think, isn't it?
After bishop g5?
Yes. What is the threat for white?
So let's say a5, e5. Let's say if black plays a5.
Yeah.
Black plays
knight d5.
No, black has to play a5, let's say. Black has to play a move for g5. So instead of the move played in the game b3, let's say black plays...
So you mean, I see. So bishop e4, knight d5, and knight takes c4. That was your idea, of course. That's correct, huh?
Yeah.
So maybe not a5,
so
but...
I have the option to go bishop e7, knight e7, bishop e4, forcing knight d5, and then maybe like knight f4. Rook c4 is...
I see. Okay. So should you play like rook fc8 here?
At which point? Instead of a5?
Instead of a5, yes.
Yeah, protecting the pawn. So even here, maybe we can consider e5, knight d5, and h4.
And h4. Yeah. But now,
or I can consider e5, knight d5, bishop e7, knight e7, bishop e4, knight d5, knight f4.
You mean in this position, take on e7?
Yeah, both direct h4 and also h4 idea is to go bishop e4.
Is it this position you are looking for? I'm sorry if I misunderstand you, Ramesh.
So after rook of c8, bishop g5, rook of c8, e5, knight d5, h4 is an option. Threat is bishop e4. The other alternative is bishop e7, knight e7, bishop e4, knight d5, and then knight f4.
Yes, that's the position I have on the board, I think.
To get bishop d5, e d5, e6.
But what about this? Oh, you cannot play knight c3, of course. No. Yes. Okay, so this is a very tense situation now.
Yeah.
Rook a, b8.
Now I can go h4, h5, or bishop d5, d5, e6.
Yes. Actually now, bishop f4 came in this position.
So this b3, cb3, ab3, rook b8 looks suspicious.
Yes. I think one of the this is another thing that I think is very difficult for a player, and that is, you know, so let's say that maybe this is a mistake from black side, you know, that to play like this and rook a b8 and so on. One of the most difficult moves then will be to try to, you know, what you want to do is to justify your play instead of realizing, okay, I have made a mistake, let's take it from this position and make the best of it, you know. That is also something, you know, to understand that, oh God, okay, I should have played something else and maybe played this rook bc8 or whatsoever. I don't know, you know. I don't know what you think about that, but that I think is very hard for many chess players, you know.
Yeah. I think he either underestimated bishop f4 or it came as a big surprise. Yeah, so
okay. Yes.
I think rook c8, going rook c8, it's looking.
Okay, I take it back. Sorry. Yeah.
Defensive.
So what do you say? What do you think is the best here to play?
Somehow sacrifice an exchange. I don't know how.
Okay, I see. So you want to find it, but you cannot find. Okay, can you play like e5 then? A little bit desperate, but
e5, d5.
Yeah, and a knight h5 was my idea, you know.
Maybe I could go e6. I think like black should not be for playing on the king side. Black should try to do something on the queen side.
Okay, no, it was just a way to try to get, you know, to just block this bishop from taking on b8. But yes, I agree. Bishop f4. Okay. Very interesting position and quite crucial, of course, for the game, you know. So
I could probably take on f4 with the knight.
Okay. So what board do we have? We have we can just take a quick look at this position again.
So we saw the threat. We saw one idea: cb3, bishop d3, queen b4, and bishop b8, rook b8, and he gets time for rook c3 because the bishop has moved to d3. So can I go queen b4 directly? Does it make a difference?
In this position?
Yes.
Here? Yes.
After bishop f4. After bishop f4.
And then take on b8, I guess. Yes, yeah, maybe this is actually a bit better.
So now the point is, I want you don't have rook c3. Does it make a difference?
Yes, exactly. I understand. Clever. Yeah. It's okay if you take.
Now b8. Otherwise, bishop f4 doesn't make a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now, yeah, rook b8. He can't take on c4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this looks much better. I totally agree, because now you can, choose your moment when to go for take on b3 and so on
I
without
don't know
getting.
if black has sufficient compensation.
Can
It
you
looks
play queen e1 maybe?
queen e1.
Is that a good move?
Yeah, but I can take pawn takes pawn, queen b4, bc2 check.
Yes. So I need to play. Okay, queen e1, take on b3, look bishop d3,
Bishop
and
d3,
now you will have
queen a4,
queen a4, knight
c3,
c3,
queen a5. Queen
knight
a5,
a5.
ideally. Queen
And
a5.
now it's really dangerous, I guess. Huh?
I don't know. If
Now,
you can get second rank defense, queen d2, I don't know. Maybe knight b6.
but now it starts to feel really dangerous, at least, much more danger than before. Because here you have this critical moment.
Yeah, my b3 pawn is alive. I'm not giving rook c3.
Yes. Yes, I'm sure that this is for sure the best
We have
way
queen
to
d4.
continue.
We have queen d4, sorry. Instead of queen a5.
Okay. Okay, I see.
With two pawns, I think it's good compensation.
So you said that, but I have a feeling my queen e1 is not the best move. I just wanted to check if there is anything else that is better.
If knight c3, again the same problem. cb3, bd3, queen d4.
Yes, that's right.
So it's like pieces are entangled.
So, but again, you're always a little bit scared when you start to sacrifice, your pieces and so on.
Yes,
But
more
here
than
maybe
seeing the idea, it's the evaluation that is hard to make.
exactly.
And in a practical game,
Yeah.
if it turns out to be simply bad, then we will look very idiotic for having gone for this.
But also because, just 2-3 moves back, it felt like black will, he doesn't have to do this kind of sacrifices to get a better game. But suddenly, a little bit, it is much sharper. You had to start to sacrifice. It's a little bit annoying that you have these changes, but you need to understand that this is the case. So, okay. So, what do you say? I'm sorry, but how long do you have the time to stay, Ramesh? I don't want to keep you. I know that you are just like all of us. You have a lot of stuff going on. I'm amazed of all the work that you put into your academy, and every time I try to we speak and so on, it seems like you are something going on. It's fantastic to hear about what you do. But okay, so
it's 11 p.m. in India, and I have some sessions in the morning at 5 o'clock because I have some students in the US. So for them, it will be evening. So I do some early morning sessions Indian time.
Of course.
So probably.
So what is the time for you now in India right now?
11 p.m. 11 p.m.
11 p.m. Yeah. And you are having a new session 5 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Yes.
Oh my God. You are working too hard, my friend.
Yeah, but I just love teaching, so I'm perfectly fine with this.
But also I remember when we when we spoke, you said that you were very fortunate in your life because you had the chance to do all this chess. You said, and that was nice to hear.
Yes.
Okay, what happened now? I just need to check out. There's something really strange going on here. I need to check.
He took bishop b3, blunder. Huh?
What happened? C take b3 came.
He
took on b3.
Took on b3.
That wasn't that really strange?
Yeah, very.
Take. What is happening here? Just want to check here.
No, I think like he took on b3. He should have played bd3. He was worried about something. I don't know what. Probably he missed the rook c3, knight c1 idea.
But here it's no doubt that black must be better in this position with two.
Yeah,
I
just
mean, okay,
a5.
he's got a rook and a pawn, but you know, one bishop and a knight, and with a white king, this must be a better position for black, I guess, at least, you know.
I think so.
So, but okay, so finally, thank you so much, Ramesh, for coming. And to all of you viewing, you should know that Ramesh will come to Sweden 9th of December. You will give a lesson in Stockholm, an open session at 7 o'clock in the evening. And then during Saturday and Sunday, 10 and 11, you will have a training camp here in Uppsala. And we are very much looking forward to that. Before that, you will go to Oslo to have a training camp with all these youngsters, talents that we have in this cooperation between Offerspiel and with Uppsala Chess Plus Academy. So thank you so much, Ramesh. I'm really worried about you need to sleep. So I say thank you, and I'll see you. So thank you very much for joining us.
Looking forward to meet you in person, Jesper.
Yes.
Good luck for all the players in the tournament. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So thank you very much, and bye.
Bye-bye.
So I'm on my own now, and I think we have a little bit of a break for some minutes. Thank you, and see you soon when after this. Okay, so now it's on. I'm sorry, we had a bit of a delay here because the sound was off, but now I think we're out in the air, and I'm here with Elham Abdrlauf. I'm sorry, do I pronounce it correct, or is it?
Abdrlauf.
Oh, okay, Abdrlauf. So you played just a game against Vignir Vatnar Stefansson, and we were talking about this line. You said that in this position here, you said that after knight e5, knight bd7, is that correct? Or?
Yeah, he played knight bd7 in a game a while ago. And okay, I was preparing knight c4, queen c7, queen f3. This was all played in this game.
Yeah.
Okay, this is typical. And knight b6 was also played, bishop f4. Yeah, this was basically my preparation for...
I see. And here you must have some kind of advantage due to the quicker development of your pieces, or
in general, it should be advantage against Scandinavia.
Yeah, okay. You're not very impressed by that opening. But what about this move? Because this came, because I was analyzing this with Elisabeth Paehtz. She was joining me earlier on. And she said she was a little bit, she thought this was a little bit dubious.
I'm not so known to this position because, this is the first time I'm playing knight d5. But the g6, he blitzed out g6, so I was like, he's probably bluffing because it looks kind of,
It looks strange, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I played bishop c4.
Do you think is this correct, bishop c4? Yeah.
I have no idea,
No.
Because I was trying to make knight c4 work, but okay. I just didn't like it because now he has more options. When the knight is on d7, he can't go to d8 or d7, yeah?
Okay.
But now, he has like 3 options.
So this, yeah, and I think bishop e6 is almost the only move, I think, yeah.
Kind of forced. Okay, I just play castle. He played knight d7.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay. I took on e6. Queen e6, and now I knight f3 maybe.
Yeah, but on the other hand, it felt like a little bit. That's why we were trying to find something else than bishop c4, because if you have to change like the swap off like this, and you have to go back, then something is it seems like it cannot be the correct way. Even though I still think that you are slightly better, but at least something has been changed off. So. Okay, I think queen d6 was normal.
I think my variations is kind of getting a bit interrupted to the lines. Can we just close the lines? We can have the evaluation.
All right, see if I can.
The lines there.
No, these lines, yeah. Yes, of course. Yeah. So, yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. Okay, my idea here was at least... okay, I played a4 with the idea of...
b3.
Bishop g7. Then I have moves like b3, bishop a3 tricks, yeah? Let's say bishop g7, okay? b3. Short castle.
Okay, I'll wait. Castle, yeah.
And then bishop a3.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Kind of being annoying.
Yeah, so I love this idea with a4 because, like you said, with b3 and bishop a3, so you really put pressure on him on this. Well, so a4 and a5 came, okay. And now
I was not considering a5.
No.
Okay, it's maybe a fine move, but I just didn't consider it because now I play rook e1.
I like that. Yeah.
And my idea, okay, he played e6 because he saw after bishop g7 b3. Okay, I'm sure of because if he played bishop g7, I think b3 is just close to
winning. Yeah, yeah, I agree because this will be what we speak about now. Is if bishop g7 comes, then this will be very strong b3, and the idea to go for the e7 pawn. Yeah, I agree. So okay, so rook e1 and instead e6. Yeah.
Well, in these kind of positions, I always know it's like slightly better for white, but it's just hard to break through. I think.
Yeah.
It's just like it's solid. The way he has, set up his pieces, he can never break with c5 or e5.
No.
I am the only one that has ideas. So okay, I thought this was.
Yeah.
I could use all the time in the world here.
Yeah.
It didn't really
Yeah.
matter.
I mean, for me, this is that can be a crucial position. Is when in the beginning it all felt that you even want to punish this kind of moves like G6 and so on. But then you come to the next stage. Okay, let's just play. I have a better position, slightly better position, and then move on and so on. Yeah. So that's you handled well, I guess. So Queen E2 was logical for me. Bishop G7 came.
Played B3.
B3, logical. Queen C7. Yeah, and yeah, okay. Bishop A3. Yeah, Bishop F8. I think all is logical. Huh?
Bishop F8. You probably have to play Bishop F8 because I mean, are you going to castle like queen side? I mean,
No, and also this is quite it starts to get very dangerous to play knight G5. So we thought we
I
need.
didn't. I tried to make something work here with Bishop B2. Okay, let's say Bishop B2.
Mm-hmm.
Bishop B4 I think is kind of forced.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, D5.
Yeah.
Okay, Bishop C3. Because if you play CD again, knight takes D5.
Knight take, knight go back, and if you take C take, knight B5 or what?
No, if knight takes, I can still take on D5 now.
In this position, like this, okay.
And then the H8, the rook is hanging.
Okay, I see.
And okay, this has to be. I thought this has to be good, even though we can take on H8, take on E1, long castle. I thought just this has to be good for me.
Yes, there's this, and this.
I just move my bishop
back here maybe or something like that. Okay,
yeah.
And this probably is slightly better for or maybe even more than that.
Yeah, okay, I like this position, but the reason I didn't go for it was just back so much.
Yeah.
After D5. Okay, bishop takes C3. D takes E6.
Okay.
Because if I take on C3, C takes D5. And
yeah, exactly. No.
Okay, D takes E6. Now bishop takes B2.
Sorry, what did you say?
Bishop takes B2 now.
Yeah.
Okay, E takes F7.
F7.
Yes. And now with King F7, knight G5.
And then there is.
And okay, I didn't find any mate with King G8. I think only move. Queen E6, King G7, and after Queen F7 he has King H6, or Queen E7 he has still Queen H6. So I didn't really see anything.
So in this position, if you give a check here instead.
Yeah, King H6, and I thought Knight F7, and now I thought he can just, do whatever. He has thought it was too much material to give up.
So it's H5 or G7.
Let's say you just go to G7. What do I do?
I need to think a bit. I'm sorry. But what I thought about immediately here is now, check on G5, King to H6, and Knight to E6. That is like the normal procedure in that consent. But okay, let's take a look at that. And here,
I actually thought of that variation, but I still didn't see any mate after King H5. Let's say you just move the Queen, whatever.
Where do you go? Queen B6 then?
Okay, let's just say Queen B6.
And you go up with the rook. Is that possible? Will you sacrifice, or what will you do? Or can you play like this? Is that possible?
E4?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we can. Okay, we have ideas of taking on F2 and take on E4 with check and go knight back to F6. You have like.
Okay. Yeah, I see.
Material.
Yeah, that's true.
But go back somewhat. Okay, so I just stopped calculating after Queen E7, King H6 because I give up 2 pieces. I was like, he's no clear mate there. So I was just thinking of.
And I was sorry. Go back. Yeah.
Okay. So after Queen E6, King G7, Queen E7. After King H6, I just stopped calculating because I thought, okay.
Too much.
No, just if I can just play with that less an advantage, or I could go to a variation where I sacrifice 2 pieces.
And then you either this checkmate, or you have to make a draw probably, or something like that. Yeah, I see.
Suddenly he sacrifices queen, and he had a rook and 2 pieces for a queen.
So instead you took here,
yes,
and you went for this position where you will be slightly better always, more or less. So okay.
95, okay. Yeah, rook e8 was weird to me. I don't understand rook e8. Because now, after King G7, Knight E4, I thought he gave me just Knight D7, and he can never go Knight F6 back. Okay, Rook H8, kind of forced, I think. I was forcing Knight D7.
Yes, I agree.
Knight 7, and now Rook A D1. My position.
Yes.
He can't go Knight F6. If he goes Queen D8, I have always Knight D6, Knight D7, Knight D6.
But what we looked at here, you played C4, Here we came to the conclusion that also with Ramesh, we were analyzing this. We thought that f5 was the only move here, or more or less.
Okay.
But came to the conclusion that probably knight c5, you will always have a slight, better position.
Knight
but
c5 and knight c5 and knight c3 was the two moves.
This and then you will always have this one square and much easier game for white. So we still thought that I couldn't judge how big the advantage was, but no doubt white is clearly better in this position. So yes. So okay. So because here we left the game, so I didn't see from here on.
Yes.
So what happened was quit rook e7.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. He just played some. I mean, weird move to me.
Try to queen c3. Nice move.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I played c5 now. I don't know if this is a mistake or not, but it just looks.
Totally agree. We spoke about that as well. That's the c5 to have this cramped position for black will all. I mean, even if it can put his knight to d5, it's still
I wasn't gonna allow it to go to d5, but I was like, if it comes to d5, it's never a problem for me.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree. So okay, c5.
Nice.
Rook a8. That was it.
Yeah.
It seems like he's losing his thread a little bit here,
because I was calculating this f5 actually for him now. f5, knight d6, knight f6, knight c4, rook a8, knight b6, knight d5.
And knight b6.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was calculating knight d5 here, but I came to conclusion that knight a8, knight c3, knight c7, knight d1, knight d6. And okay, I'm just better because he has to go king g8.
And then you take in king f1 or something like that.
I'm a pawn up, and this should be pleasant.
Yeah, and d5 is about to come as well, and I mean, at least you are clearly better. And the question is, probably you're winning even with the rook on. If you can play d5, rook on d6 and b6 or something like that.
Yeah, take the knight king f1 and okay.
Yeah, that's right. So okay, so what happened was. Rook a8 like this, and just move on. So now you have the pleasant choice of going for an attack on the black king, or
okay, I had many ideas with rook e3. Okay, one of them was knight g5, h d5, and then suddenly rook h3 to h8.
So like this, and then pushes here or something like that.
But the thing is that knight g5, you don't have to take.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a threat against f5. Let's say black plays f5 here.
Okay.
Knight g5.
Yeah, and now this might work.
I think it works because after hg. No, not here. Now he has queen e5. Now he has queen e5.
Queen e5.
d5, queen e5.
This one, yeah. Okay, see.
I thought actually d5 after knight g5. Okay, knight g5, hg5, d5 now, because now I'm threatening d6, yeah.
And check here, of course, yeah.
But maybe it's not working, so now what is the move here?
I need to think. Is threat? I have d6 coming. What is the move here?
Rook g7.
This move. I see. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, you can take here on e6 and compensation, but then it starts to get muddy. Yeah.
Okay, but it was a ghost threat anyway. Not really a move I was considering.
So rook e3 came.
Yeah.
But f5, it's not a serious move, is it? No.
Oh, okay. I was good. F5. Let's just say f5. Knight d6, knight f6. He plays f5 and weakening his king very much. But okay, he gets the square on d5.
Should you go like this, rook, queen e1 or something like that?
Yeah, queen e1, queen e7, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, but now you have this move, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. a5 pawn is probably hanging.
Yeah.
Knight d5, maybe. Okay. It's just bad for him.
Yeah, I agree. Something like I mean, even in this type of position.
Everything is good.
So okay, so what happened instead was that he played queen f4. Okay, that is a muddy move as well.
Yeah, I just played g3.
G3.
He played queen back to c7.
And he went back. Okay, so he took away this
I
rook
guess he
h3.
was scared of that idea.
Yeah. So now rook e1, logical, put pressure. Okay, so now f5 is almost outruled, and you know he has b6. You don't want to play that either. You know, so okay, so you have total control. Queen d8, queen c4. You are making small progress. I must say I was quite impressed by your first game in that sense that, you know, you took this Caro-Kann that you normally it's not something special for black. White has got the initiative, but then for every move it's felt like you are, you know, strengthening your position. And also here you seem to have a great sense of how to put up pressure against your opponents. You know.
Okay, my idea with queen c4, yeah. Queen c4 was his idea is queen h8.
Yeah.
Knight f6. This is the idea. He just wants to trade the knight. So I was like, okay, queen c4, queen h8, rook f3. I don't want to allow it.
Yeah.
But I think that in the other variation, when the queen is not on c4, he has e5 ideas.
Okay.
And now I cannot take on f7.
I see, because now e5 is outruled because it's hanging on f7.
It doesn't really look like any idea behind queen c4, but maybe a small idea there.
I see. Okay. So he played queen g7 now.
Yeah, I just think everything here was strange.
b4, okay.
Yeah, my idea was just to pick up the b7 pawn and get a new queen.
Okay,
knight b8, I mean, insane move. I mean,
that was a surprise.
I don't understand this move.
No, me neither. I must say this was very strange. There must be something better than that.
He tries this knight b8, knight e6, knight e7, knight d8.
Takes a long time.
Huh? Using some time, yeah. Yeah, okay, I could have taken on b7, but I thought he will go to d5 anyway. I just want to trade a pair of rooks first.
Yeah, take a look. f5, now threatening the knight. Going back.
Okay, if he takes on a4, rook b7, queen e2 ideas, yeah.
So if he takes here, you
b7.
go check. He goes here, I guess. And you go here. And now it's this one hanging out.
Should be just over.
Yeah, it should be over. So rook b8 came here.
Yeah, you could just king g2. I mean,
very solid, simple chess.
I mean, okay, rook b8, queen a6 probably winning, but why not put the king on g2 first?
Yeah. So took g5, try to get some kind of counterplay. Take, and queen e2. Oh, that's a lovely move as well, you know. Now he actually gave up.
Yeah, knight c7, just queen e5. I thought I just take the squares.
Yeah, that's good. And you are about to move in here as well. And if he moves up here with the queen, something you can take on f5, giving a check.
Yeah.
So okay, yeah. I think this was you seem to have control for the whole game, more or less. That's my feeling when I see this.
Yeah. When you play the Scandinavian, it's either win or draw.
Win or draw, yes. Okay, and this was for sure a win. Yeah. Okay, so very nice. So, how do you feel about the tournament? What do you think? Who will be your challenger for? I guess you are now in the driver's seat together with Francesco Sonis. I guess so. That is the next game, or?
Yeah. I might play him next round.
Yeah. So that will be a very interesting game to watch tomorrow. We start at 1600 tomorrow because you have some sleeping day tomorrow, I guess. Huh? So that's good. So thank you very much, and good luck, Elham, in the final rounds. Yes. So, okay, let's see if there is any other games left. We'll see here. I do like this. So here we are. So that was a great game. What a talent we have there. And let's go and see the other games. We have now this position. Sonis and Francesco's, there's happened a lot here. Huh? Okay, it was this position. Okay, took this one, and now he is a pawn up. We looked at this with Ramesh, but there is some weaknesses in the black position, so the sacrifice was probably okay. And now, yes, we'll see here. F5 is logical, because what you want to do is to get some counterplay on the king's side. Try to make the bishop, giving the bishop the plan to have holes on the white squares surrounding the white king. And now queen d4, okay. Ready to go for queen take b6. Queen f7 came. And now you can see that actually there are some dangers here. And now, of course, it's very important for white to calculate correct. So he took on b6, f take. And now, what is the idea? Because you cannot give a check on if2. It's simply to take on d5, I guess. Yes, that's what's happened. And we have this position. And here we are very close to draw, because the white king is, in danger of, all these checks. So if I believe that if black could play something like king h8 or something like that, it will, even though you have an extra pawn, it will be very difficult for white to win. So he planned to do this and rook f5, but still this looks very drawish to me, because you have a situation where there's a double pawn. The extra pawn is only a double pawn. So, okay. Okay, that was a clever move, because the idea now is a take b4, rook check, and then check on a8, king f7, and rook b8. And this is lost because this pawn is covering up the f4 square. So that was a clever move. And now suddenly we have a position. And now if rook f8, is that possible? This can be very critical, actually, I guess. But he didn't dare to do that. So let's see. Okay, we'll see here. Okay, so now what is this position like? Because after rook b8, this pawn will be lost, and then white might have some good possibilities to win that situation. Then probably go rook c5, take on a b4 and start to give checks. Check c1, king g2, rook to c2 check, king h3, and then the king will be a bit awkward on h3, maybe h5 or something like that, and there is good chances of a draw. But yes, so I still think there is a good chance for Galperin to make a draw here if he plays, rook c5 came, and so on. So just let us look at the other games that we have. I just want to check so everything looks nice. Yeah, we have, what about this position? This is the game between Khan, Kukushari, and Felix Blueberger, and we had this position when we left, and here I think black is better. What I would like to, that's what I thought. So white needs to change queens, because otherwise there will be an attack for black on the b2 pawn, and 2 pieces are better than a rook when it comes to an attack. So he's trying to swap queens. You can see here he's trying to avoid it, and now, yes, he managed to do it. So now we have this position. I'm not sure that black played the correct way all the way through here, but still, let's take a look here. Now we have this position, and in this type, I'm not sure this was the correct move. But for me, it seems like white has managed to get a decent position, because it's quite a solid structure white has got. So even though if you have 2 pieces like this, you also need to have something to go for, a target with your pieces. And right now, white is so solid, so it's not easy to see what target to go for, while white can actually go for this a6 pawn and so on. So I'm not even sure that black has got any advantage to talk about. So, okay, so maybe that was a bit of a good choice to take on b3 like Khan did after all, because now he has also got some activity going on here. Okay, so rook b8, should he play knight fd7 maybe, and then rook a7 will come probably and swap off a pair of rooks again. Actually, I think that, well, Khan is not worse in this position. Let's take a look at the other games we have here. Okay. Okay, he managed to find, this is a bit surprised because now white has got really good winning chances. What happened? A rook take b4. Here, I mean, here comes a very strange move to me. This is so strange, you know, because I would have given a check here, king here, check here, come up and play a5, h5. That would be my idea for sure. Because now the king cannot move, the rook is ready here, and you will put your kings somewhere, you know, up on h7 or something like that, and I cannot see. And when this push comes, rook b2, for me this was a great surprise that he played rook c2. Instead, check on c1 and then check on c2. Take on h2 if king goes to f3, needs to go to h3 and then h5, and it's stuck to defend the pawn on h2, so that will be a draw. So that was a big surprise for me, from what I can see at least, you know. Take c2, yeah, that was a strange move. Now I think it's very, very difficult for black, because white will play king f3, come up with a king and start to move towards the b pawn. I think this is actually close to winning for white. Let's go back and see the other games we have. Okay, what about this position? Because that was a game that was very, very interesting. But we had this it was bishop h5 that we were very surprised to see. He didn't play queen d3, that we thought was an obvious choice, to play queen d3 in this position. And from what we saw, Ramesh and me, white is simply clearly better. But he played bishop d3. And now he took this pawn. That was very, very interesting move. Was that the plan also for queen d3 in this position? Here? To take like this? Is this something we missed here? I don't know. But it looks, this must be too much. You know, even after f5, you can just move your queen to e1 even, you know, like this. And even if you take here, I'm not sure you have compensation enough in this position. So, okay, well, let's say we see what's happened. He took on here and then went for f5. And now the idea is to follow up with e4, of course. Bishop went down. And now he's pushing hard here. Because e4, there is this trick, I guess, you know, to go for knight e5. And if you take on e5, this is hanging. If you take on d1, you take on d7, and white is winning. So this was not possible. That was a nice move. Bishop b1. So knight h4 came. Okay. Still, he took on e5. And then queen. Oh, this is such a strange, you know, game. This, because now the thing is knight f3. Then black will take with bishop take f3, take on f3, check on g6, and checkmate on g2. So instead, knight to g4 now. And I guess he took it. Yeah, took it like this. And now we have this very strange position. Like this. Okay. So queen e5. What kind of move is that? Look at this lovely trick. If you take on h5 in this position, I guess you can play this move. And you can see he cannot take the queen, pawn take, because the queen will be hanging. And there is a checkmate idea on a g2, and I cannot see how you can stop it. So a very nice trick, this queen e5. But, of course, you do not have to take the bishop. So let's see what happened. Queen d3, was that correct? But the move I want to play is rook a3. That is the move we have been discussing all the time before, you know, to have a new piece ready to join in the defense and so on. And here I think white must be, well, I shouldn't say that because it's a very tricky position, but still, it seems to me like if you play this move, you will have an extra defender and you have a good chance to survive. And if black needs to go back with bishop g6 or something like that, you will actually be 2 pawns up. Normally that's enough to win, but okay, so what happened now was in this position, Knight f3. This is a great move. Look at that. What a trick. If you take queen take, rook take, of course. So he took with the pawn. There comes the check. Like this, king g1. And now he played bishop g6. I like that. Queen d1. And now can you play rook take f3? Yeah, that's enough. Because you can see now if you take here, there is actually checkmate like this. Huh? So this you cannot play. So he played rook a3. But this now black is simply winning. What a crushing game he's playing here. Took on g4. Here. And yeah, well, white, I mean, in worst case, black can actually play rook h3. Or this was also not very nice. He simply took here. Because, and black won. Because if you take on f3 like this, then you have this lovely trick here. And you can see that you have this fantastic cross. And it was gave up. He gave up here. Tor Fredrik, you know, really, really impressive in the end. Even though I think that after queen d3, he would have had real problems in the position. So, okay. So now we'll see here. Yes, now I think Francesco Zonis is on his way winning. That was, I'm very surprised that he didn't play rook c1 check and rook c2, because look at this. Now his king is, I think this is very easily won actually for white, because the king here is, I'm sorry, in this position, because here the king is cut like this, and that's what you want. The king will come to the pawn, start to push, the king will support it, and it will move down. And I cannot believe that there is any chance for black to survive this. I think that was such a strange moment when it played rook c2 and instead of giving check and then play it, you know. So I don't know what happened there. So let's see the other games. We have this game here that is actually quite tense right now, because Khan seems to have, you know, played quite well now. So, but still it will not be easy to win. But okay, we have this. He will probably take here, then take, and then try to go in with the next one. You have maybe this position, and then the pawn will be on a5. I don't think that white is worse anymore. So now it's even Khan maybe that is pushing. He also has got more time, 22 against 8 minutes. So yeah. Okay, so let's take a look here to Fredrik 1. We had Axel Falkevall 1 against Ludwig Carlsson. This was really, really well done, because Ludwig is higher rated. He's in NTG in Norway, working very hard on his chess, but he hasn't had his best tournament here. And Axel, yeah, obviously, you know, I think I'm quite impressed by his play. We had a draw, Payekin against Fandel. Nice. We have Hampus Sørensen, which was a draw against Gustav Törngren. I think that seems to be a very closed game. I think he should be very. That was a good effort by Gustav Törngren. Not the least being black. You know, he facing one of the most promising guys, Hampus Sørensen. Edvin Trost, Hugo Wernberg, a draw. That was also something that is quite good for Hugo Wernberg, who is lower rated, and Edvin has got higher rate. You know, he was black, Hugo, and lower rated. Arvid Rasti, well done, won his game. We have here, we have Joar Östlund, won against Emil Remegård. We have Sondre Mela, won against William Johansson. Okay, and we have one game here. We have Victor Muntian, who is trying to make a draw against Brian Benedict. He is, from what I can see, he's must be close to losing, because he maybe rook e1 or something like that, and there is no checks because he's a rook down. Some compensation, 2 pawns, but it should not be enough. So white is winning if you just play a bit safe. We have Vidar Hagevi, very good. He was won against Alexander Oliver May. Very good, you know. You can see that Vidar has gone 19-22, winning against 121-83. That's well done. And we have this game. Ludvig Morell is playing against Julia Östensson, and you can see that Ludvig is actually a pawn up and has got a good position, so he's on his way. Probably he is close to winning in this position with white. Here we have Krockenhäuser against Albin Lind Bertesen, and from what I can see, Krockenhäuser is close to winning. He's got, you know, if you, not least if you can keep the b4 pawn in this position, Black will try to go for rook d4 and win this pawn, and then there will be technically maybe some problems, but you know, an extra knight is good to have. We have here Vidar Gran won his game, well done. Anton Frank is fighting here, very strange position right now. He has got rook against two knights. We have a pawn on h7. That's a surprise. This pawn here, I don't know what to say. That is so strange, this position. Should you go for rook? Isn't white simply winning this position? Like if you go like rook g8 or something like that. Okay. And we have Bucket won. We had Liljehoek won. That's well done. Great. And there is still a fight between Walter Wing and Oscar Morell, if I understand things correctly. So, okay. Let's go back and take what happened here was that King d1, h4, he tried to do something and just take it, yes. And now King moves up, and this is, as you can see, he took here. But now this is a simple win for white, you know, King c3, b4. And, you know, Black, okay, Black can go up and try to do something, you know. So I cannot believe that he played this so much. Galperin, it was a surprise because I think he had a draw position, but he underestimated this. What you want to do when you have this type of position for white, and this was very instructive in this position, is that you want to give your rook several things to do, and in this case the rook is actually only guarding this one, so it's very important to have it in front of the pawn for Black. And if you play rook c2, then check, and rook f2, suddenly you have many possibilities for the rook. Instead, if you do like this, check, 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 and king goes up, and then h5, look at this position. Then the rook do not have the chance to check on f4 and go to, like, okay, you can go give a check like this. Maybe you should, can you go for g5? No, okay, let's play h5 like I suggested. Then okay, you can play this, b4, and this. But now this is much more difficult for white to win than the other one. Actually, there is some chances maybe that I missed something. But this is still much more difficult because in the game, what happened was to take on b, you know, here. This is so easy because now this will cut off here. The king will come here and then support the pawn, and you do not have any way to make any own passed pawns. So okay, and we have this. They are still thinking here. Maybe this will be a draw in the end. Feels like this might be the case. The king will try to come closer, and yeah, I think it's quite even game, this one. So let's see what more we have. Yeah, this on rook e1 was found, so that's good. Okay, I just want to say that white actually got this pawn, so now the knight will come closer, he will win this, and they will be 3 against 2, and that is a winning position with an extra knight. So this will be won by Krockenhauser. So let's go up. Francesco Sones will win his game. So this is not much to watch, I think. Okay, so okay, I can just explain to you what will happen is that the rook is supporting the pawn here, and if you go, for example, like this and try to make this not moving, the king will come around like this, and like this is important. You do not play this move, because if you go in this position, if you go to a7, then there will be this sacrifice and suddenly it's a draw because king can take on h2. But if you just keep your, keep it simple like this with king a6, here there is no way b6 will come. The king supports this pawn and the rook is supporting the h2 pawn. So, okay. Okay, we have this. Yes, he took on b8, swapped off the rooks, and now the next rook is entering. My idea was to put the knight on bd7, put this pawn on a5, and you should have a position where you have very good chances to make a draw. With black, it is not anymore. I think Felix Bluberger, who is the one in the driver's seat. So, yes. Let's go. He's continued to fight Galperin, which is a bit of a surprise actually, because there is no chance that Francesco Sonis will make any mistake here. King b7 and b6. Yeah, simple, clean, white will win. This is okay. That's interesting. He simply got closer with his king. That's logical, because first after rook b7, then you move your knight. That's the idea. What about this now? You really need your own knight to be closer to the action, so maybe knight to c3. Is that possible? Or should your king move up? But if you move up your king, it's not so easy to see where to continue. If on b3, a5 will come. But of course, another possibility is to make knight c1, knight d3 to get, the possibility to get to c5. I like that in a way more, because on c3 I cannot see, okay, then you need the push d5. But for me, I prefer to play knight c1, knight d3, and then try to do something. So, okay. Okay, let's see what we have got here. It's this one. We have this left. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we got. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so what do you say? Should we continue a little bit more? Is there anything else happening here interesting? Montian will lose. Julia has got problems. Ludwig is on his way to winning. And Arthur Krockenhauser will win. It will just be a question of technique to win this position with an extra knight. We have this very... What happened? This is a very strange game now. Anton Frank. Okay, what about rook g5 now? Okay, then king c5. That's the idea. Okay, I see. Then it's not so easy. Wasn't this? I must say, I must wonder in this position here. Here, white must be winning this position. What happened? He played rook d1. He took here. Took on d4. f5. This is a simple winning position for white. c5, yeah. But is this? Do you have? There must be something else here. You do not swap queens here as white. This is so strange. I mean, like rook g5, for example. This one. You do that. Just putting up the pressure like that. Or, I don't know, is there anything better? There must be a way to go for an attack or something like this. Check. Or what about... Okay. Check. And now it swapped off. That was a surprise. Why didn't he took on d5? Why did he take on d5? Ah, it's a check down here. Okay, I'm sorry. So what then there is something. There must be something here. That's why I wanted to play rook g5, but maybe there is something even better here. Because it seems like the attack, you want to go for an attack here, yeah? So that's why I thought about this move, rook g5. So if the queen goes back, you know, so this, something like that. Now you're, you know, well, this is the type of pressure you want to keep up with against your opponent here. So, okay. Does he play this anyway? Maybe. Is it possible to sacrifice? Maybe. So then it's maybe not completely clear. Maybe you need to go... I don't know. So, okay, maybe there is a little bit of... Because this is a position you feel that white should win easily. But now in this... That was a strange move as well. Why not play rook to g5 here? And then simply take the pawn. Okay, he will have this too, so this will not be so easy as there must be something here. Just find the right move here and you have the winning on the winning. Okay, I have one idea here now. What about this move here? Queen b6. That is the winning move. Because now you are ready to go for, you know, queen c7, you take on a6. And if you do queen b7, like this, you always have the check here, I guess. And now you cannot, yeah, what can you do? Because you cannot play king b8 because of rook b1. King c7 looks, then you can give a check and take the knight. Yeah, this is winning. Okay, oh, let's take a look what happened. Now, I don't even think that white is better, maybe even losing this position. That's terrible. Okay, too bad. Well done so far in that game. But now, yeah, okay. So, okay, we have this position. I said that the knight wanted to go to d3, so now it's on its way. Because if you can swap off the bishop with the knight, you will have a good winning chance with white, because two knights are not so effective against a rook. So that will be very dangerous. So now I think that black is actually there. It's black who needs to take care. So should you maybe play a4 in this position like this? Is that the move to play? But then maybe knight d3, and then you move. I don't know. What do you do? What do you do? Maybe you go like this or something like that. Okay. Maybe you can play something like this and you should hold the position, I believe. Of course, you can try to move around your bishop, your knight to c3, but then the king will come up and so on. So probably this is the way, but you can feel that it's really white who is now in the driver's seat. So yes. Okay, so what more do we got? What have we got here? Okay. Yeah, this is a simple win, this position. What you do here with white is that you play f4 in this position. Oh, I mean this position. Here you probably play f4 like this, and then you know, you put your knight on e3, and then your king comes to h4. I mean, if we do like something like, you know, he needs to something like this, and then you play something like this, just to make an example, like this, this, and this, and then it's, you know, you like this, and you play a move like g3, and one of those pawns will be lost. So okay, that's simple. So we have this position here. We only have one game left. No, okay, we have this position as well. Here. Let's take a look at this position now. Maybe he can hold. It's possible, but I mean, for example, this move, king d2, then I don't know if you play king d4, I guess, and then you are ready to go for c3 check. I would be very scared if I was white in this position. So, because your pawns here, you know, it's far away from promoting, while you can see that this c3 check, rook comes down. Now these these rook, knight, pawn, and king, you know, they are really dangerous in the position. So, yeah, I would be worried if I were Anton. So, yeah, like I said, a4 came, logical move. I believe you play knight to d3 like this, and then bishop d6 or something like that, and we have this type of position. And I think that it should be, you should be able to hold this, but yeah, there will be some more fight. Okay. That's right. Okay, so we have Francesco Sonis. He is still in top of the situation, but he will probably face Elham Abdrlauf tomorrow, and that will be a really, really interesting game, because I think that game will decide the tournament. For me, these are the two players who have impressed me most. Sonis, because he takes his chances. It seems like not any real danger of losing. Maybe not always the absolutely best moves, but always good moves, no really bad moves, and that's a real strength to always be able to keep up, to play some strong moves, even though not the best. So yes, I believe that those two will be, one of them might even win the tournament. That's my guess for the moment. So we'll see. Of course, we have this game between Khan Kukushari against Felix Blueberger. If someone of those win, there might be a game against Francesco Sonis for them. But if it's a draw, then it will be Elham who is facing Tsonis, because then it's Elham who is the only one that is half a point behind. So yes. Okay, just quickly on this one, because we have a situation where one move I thought about here, it's you know, I don't really like it, but e5, because now the question is where the bishop should go. Because if you go to b8, then after rook a6 we have this move coming, knight to c5. It might be annoying. So maybe you need to go back to e7. But then, you know, if you had a check on, you know, with the rook, it will be dangerous for the king. So maybe king c2 in this position. I don't know what this will be like, but I just thought, you know, it's not so easy to come closer. So okay, yeah, probably this is okay to go for this. So maybe e4, e5 is not so attractive after all, even though it keeps up. It seems to be a little bit problematic for black in the first, when you take a look at it. But yeah. Okay, maybe e5, bishop e7. Can you go for something like this? Is that possible? If kings come here, you maybe play this. Is that possible? I don't know. Okay, this is nothing then. Because now, yeah, this is okay for, no doubt, this is okay for black. So this will not happen in the game, for sure. So bishop d6. Okay, I still believe that this game is within the reach of a draw for any of the players. So I guess this will be a draw. I believe that we have this position. I think white will win. In this position, a game between Ludwig Morell and Julia Östensson, because white is simply one pawn up, and rook e1 can't come, and so on. And yeah, white is clearly better, so it will be a fight for Julia to make a draw here. And we have, and that is that. So I will stop the commentating now. It's been a long day. It's been an interesting day. We have had some fantastic games. And for me, it's been a joy to have all the great people joining me today. Because, you know, when I try to get them in contact with them and ask them to come here, by accident, most of them were ready to come on today, Monday, while I would like, normally you want to spread them out, you know, so you have one of the co-commentators joining you for each day. But that's the way it is. Today we had 4 of them. We'll see how many that will join in tomorrow. So thank you very much for today, and see you tomorrow. The round will be at 4 o'clock. Tomorrow there will be a little bit of sleeping, at least for the players. So see you tomorrow.